Well, good evening and welcome to Tollcross Swimming Centre here in the East End of Glasgow. It was the venue for the Commonwealth Games last year, but this week it is the venue for the 2015 IPC Swimming World Championships. I'm joined tonight by Giles Long in commentary. Looking forward to a good night of finals tonight, Giles.
Well, we certainly are, Paul. There are some real blistering
Well, we saw some good action this morning, and here is a short recap of what we saw in the heats. That's what we are looking forward to this afternoon's finals. We start off with the men's and women's 100 freestyle for the S7 class. You see a range of classifications here, Giles. Physical disabilities, visually impaired and intellectually impaired athletes all taking the start for the finals this evening. We saw some great performances this morning, world records, championship records, a lot more to look forward to tonight.
Well, there certainly is. I'm really looking forward to the men's 50 freestyle S13. E.R. Boki could go for the world record there. Ellie Cole, of course, breaking the S9 women's 100 backstroke world record. We'll see that graphic in a minute. There is some very, very quick swimming indeed. The men's 100 metres backstroke, also S9, also set up to be a real sizzler.
Well, there's a lot of races I think are going to be very, very close tonight. We see that very final event on your screen there, the mixed 4x50 freestyle relay. Men and women, all a range of classifications, and they all have to add up to 20 points. Remember, it's disability swimming, classes 1 to 10 for physical disabilities, 11 to 13 for the visual impaired, and S14 for the intellectually impaired athletes. The teams are out in force. We have 70 countries here, almost 600 athletes, and some supporters, some high-profile supporters there.
Well, good to see teams from all the world. There's the Japanese team, always very strong. Already looking forward to Tokyo 2020.
Yeah, just as the Brazilians are looking forward to Rio next year. It's on the horizon very quickly, Giles. It just seems like yesterday when London was taking place.
It does. Big support there. S14 swimmers, British swimmers, Jessica Jane Applegate and Tom Hamer written all over those flags. Aussie flags next to them. Lots and lots of Russian team kit around, Paul. The Russians sent a very, very big team. Team 60, I believe.
Yeah, they've got the biggest team here at these championships. And there's some people enjoying themselves. They see themselves on the big screen here at Tollcross. You see Kerry-Ann Payne there, supporting Scott Quinn tonight. Kerry-Ann Payne, one of the world's top open water swimmers, of course, Olympic swimmer, Olympic medalist Scott Quinn, trying to go for his first world medal tonight. He comes up in a little bit of time, but first of all, we move to the first event, which is the men's 100 freestyle S7 classification. Great Britain have dominated this event in previous years. World record still held by Dave Roberts for Great Britain. No GB athlete in this one though. There is the lineup. Matthew Levy is the fastest qualifier into this final, so often a silver medalist in this one. But can he claim the gold medal tonight in this first final of the 2015 IPC World Championships? Tobias Pollak is the man in lane number 1. The German team, they've got a strong team here, a lot of support for him. Well, that's Evgeny Bayadaiko in lane number 2. And there's Andrei Gladkov in lane number 3. Gladkov, medalist in the major championships at 400 freestyle. And there's Levy, the silver medalist in this event in the World Champs 2010 and 2013. Sukarev, he may well challenge him. Relay medalist at the last World Championships in Montreal. Pan Xiaoyin, the Paralympic champion. You cannot discount this man in lane number 6. Kavanetsaya from Ukraine in lane number 7. And Alfonso Dominguez from Spain will complete the line of this very first final of these championships. Who's it going to be first blood to here at these games here in Glasgow? Matthew Levy, 102.93 in the heats this morning. He was over a second ahead of anyone else in the field. Can he maintain that for this final? Levy will be the favourite, but he will be challenged by the 2 Russians alongside him and the Chinese swimmer in lane 6.
Well, it's a pretty good start all round, especially over the far side of the pool in lane number 2. Evgeny Bayadaiko, he's not had a great season, to be honest, and he's said that he's really looking to stamp some authority on this World Championships, and he's leading them out, Paul. He looks very comfortable indeed as they come now into the first 50 turn, but it's going to be lane number 6, Xian Pan of China, who goes over first, and he looked very, very comfortable in the heat. Very, very slow stroke turnover, very, very efficient style.
Well, it could well be the even-numbered lanes. It's lanes 2, 4 and 6. Bayadaiko into the yellow cap of Matthew Levy in lane number 4. But the Paralympic champion from China, Pan Xiaoyin, I think he's going to take this one. It looks like it's going to be first blood at these championships to China in a time of 101.54. Pan Xiaoyin of China, 101.53. He will take the title. He's a second ahead of Matthew Levy, who was faster than he went in this morning. And Bayadaiko is beaten out of the medals by Sukarev in lane number 5 from Russia. But the Paralympic champion becomes the world champion now, and he is very happy with that one.
Well, it certainly is indeed. He set a championship record with that swim, and it looked very, very great. You've got to feel sorry for poor old Matt Levy. Always in the silver medal spot. It was a good swim from him, but Bayadaiko, I thought we'd see more of him, but he just seemed to burn out, didn't he, early on. It's a good swim from Sukarev as well, who came in third, but here is Pan. Look at that. I mean, the hand goes into the water and it locks straight in there. It's not slipping at all, and all of the power that he's got in that shoulder being converted into forward movement. You can even see how efficient he moves when he's just getting out.
You know a bit about swimming that with one-arm Giles. You're a great exponent of the one-arm butterfly and freestyle events, and that was a great display of one-arm swimming there from Pan Xiaoyin. Pan Xiaoyin is the new world champion in a time of 101.53, a championship record. Silver goes to Matt Levy of Australia, and bronze Sergei Sukarev of Russia. Next are the women's 100 freestyle S7. Courtney Jordan and Susie Rogers in lane 4 and 5. They were fastest into this final. Come out for the S7 final. Serious faces there, Giles.
Oh, absolutely, they look like they mean business, don't they? Courtney Jordan, I thought this morning, really kind of slipping as her hands were going into the water. She's obviously got great fitness because she pretty much finished as well as she started. Susie Rogers, I thought, looked good. She's still continuing to make progress in this event.
Levy from Israel goes in lane number 1. Rebecca Dubber, New Zealanders, had a great championships in Montreal 2 years ago. Rebecca Dubber into this final. I think all the New Zealanders that took part in the heats are in the finals tonight. Annie Pallian in lane number 3. There's Courtney Jordan, the reigning champion. And can she retain her title here in Glasgow? Susie Rogers may have something to say about that. She was a silver medalist in Montreal 4 years ago. Can Susie Rogers get alongside Courtney Jordan in this one? Tess Rutliff from Canada goes in lane number 6. Denise Grahl from Germany in 7. And the young New Zealander, the second New Zealander in the field, Nikita Howarth, is in lane number 8. So, well, Susie Rogers and Courtney Jordan very close in terms of times in qualification. And we'll see what the world champion and the world silver medalist can do in this one. There's Susie Rogers.
Take your marks.
Very swift start there by Tess Rutliff. She was off the blocks fast, but Courtney Jordan got up pretty well. But Susie Rogers is pretty much on a par now with Courtney Jordan. Annie Pallian didn't get the best of starts, but with a lower limb disability, you probably expect that, Giles.
Well, this class absolutely borne out by different balances, different skills, if you like. Courtney Jordan really got that all-round power balance. She goes around the wall now first, 34.07 in first place. Susie Rogers actually in fourth. Second was Denise Grahl of Germany over in lane number 7. And Susie Rogers is really being left behind here. Annie Pallian in lane 3, looking quite good, but it's only going to go one way, I think, Paul, unless something disastrous happens for Courtney Jordan.
Well, Denise Grahl from Germany in lane number 7 had a very good start. She's falling back now. It's the big 3 in the medals. Courtney Jordan, she's being chased by Annie Pallian. I think it's too late for Susie Rogers to challenge now. It's going to be gold to the USA. Courtney Jordan will take that one. It's silver for Annie Pallian from Russia. And Susie Rogers in 3rd position. Just a 1/10 of a second behind Annie Pallian. But Courtney Jordan took that one and she really dominated that one. I love her expressive face there. Courtney Jordan, she always does that when she wins. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, well, this class has been wide open because Jacqueline Franey of Australia is not at these World Championships due to injury. And Courtney Jordan, the Paralympic silver medalist from America, has capitalised on that. That's Susie Rogers. It's not a bad time for Susie Rogers, 1:13.10. I think the look on her face, she was hoping for more. Here's the finish. Courtney Jordan, you can see as those hands come over, they don't pierce right through the surface of the water. In the end, it's academic because she finishes first. There's definitely something that she could work on there, Paul. I think she could find more speed, even more than the 1:11.93. Interestingly, the world record standing at 1:08.03. So it's some way off that.
The result is confirmed for the women's 100 freestyle S7. Courtney Jordan takes the title for USA, Annie Pallian silver, and Susie Rogers bronze for Great Britain. men's 100 breaststroke SB14. Mark Avers in lane number 4 will be the favourite for this one. Great Britain, Scott Quinn in 5 was second fastest into the final, and the world record holder Tanaka from Japan goes in lane number 2.
Well, it's quite an interesting heat between Tanaka and Pavlenko. They both got onto the final stroke, and in swimming you absolutely do not look to the person next to you. And pretty much in the final stroke they both looked across at each other to see what each other was doing.
It was a better finish from Pavlenko. He got ahead of Tanaka. There is the world record holder, Emeliantsev from Russia, second Russian in this final. And there's Mark Avers, championship record holder from Montreal. He's the world champion, and he's had a great battle with that man over the last year, Scott Quinn, with his lucky boxer shorts on as always. Great support here. Pavlenko, also medalist at the Paralympic Games. Yoon Young Mook from Korea in 7, and Adam Ishmael Venom from Norway in lane number 8. This one should be an absolute cracker. Scott Quinn and Mark Avers have had some great tussles in recent times, but you cannot count out that man, the world record holder Tanaka from Japan. The world record stands at 106.69. Mark Avers has swum very close to that. He'll have his sights set on the world record, and he may have to go a world record time to win this one.
Take your marks.
Well, first up in lane number 6, Pavlenko. The middle 2 lanes, though, very quick off the blocks and looking very good in the middle. Mark Avers, but also Emeliantsev of Russia in lane number 3. He's got really kind of classic breaststroke style, Paul. Look, his head sort of doesn't really dip into the water. Coming into the turn, he looks absolutely superb.
So Emeliantsev go out fast there. Scott Quinn is ahead of Mark Avers, and that is good for Scott Quinn. But Mark Avers, we know, is very strong in the closing stages here. Tanaka coming back in lane number 2. They're all coming back on the early leader, Emeliantsev. It looks like it could be between Mark Avers and the world record holder Tanaka. Scott Quinn not quite out of it yet in the blue cap here, and Scott Quinn coming back really strongly on the shoulder of Mark Avers now, but I think Mark Avers has just got enough to hold up Scott Quinn. It's gold to Mark Avers in 107.10. It's silver to Scott Quinn, 109.99, and it's a tie for silver position with Tanaka, both of them touching at 107.99. But there he is, Mark Avers is the champion again. But that looked like hard work. He had to work all the way into the finish for that one.
He did. He really was pushing. You have to say, Scott Quinn did absolutely fantastic to bring himself back into that race to get a medal. Really, he had a good turn, but he was nowhere, and then he just pulled it back. Tanaka, of course, he looks disappointed. He knows that he could have done more. He could have been closer to his best time, the world record time of 106.69. Here's the finish again. Avers really hauling his body out of the water. He's looking to inject those hands forward and really use the kick to drive himself over the vortex that those hands are generating. He gets the finish pretty much okay. There's a bit of a glide at the end. And Tanaka looks straight across at Scott Quinn. He knows he's not going to want to share that silver medal, is he?
He's not. Scott Quinn really wanted gold here. He's one of the 2 Scots in the Great Britain team, but it's a first medal on the global stage for Scott Quinn. The result of the men's 100 breaststroke SB14, Mark Avers from the Netherlands. He's the champion again. He retains his title. World record holder Tanaka and Great Britain's Scott Quinn share the silver medal position. the women's 100 breaststroke final for the SB4 chain class. We saw a fantastic heat swim from Magda Toeters from the Netherlands in this morning's heats. Michelle Alonso Morales, the former world record holder, goes in lane number 5. That could be the battle for gold and silver. Again, we have quite a tight contest at the start here at the head of the field. Possibly Magda Toeters and Alonso Morales. Steffensdottir goes in 1, Pernilla Lindberg in 2. Marlo van der Kolk for the Netherlands goes in 3. Remember her winning a gold medal in the Eindhoven World Championships 5 years ago. And Magda Toeters, her Netherlands teammate, consistently a silver medalist in this event behind this lady, Michelle Alonso Morales. She's always managed to get ahead of Magda Toeters. They've shared the gold and silver medal position. Shabalina from Russia, she won 3 gold medals at the European Championships last year. Michelle Fransen from Belgium goes in 7, and Justine Morier from Canada is the final swimmer in this final. She goes in lane number 8. There's Magda Toeters. Giles, what does she have to do to get ahead of Michelle Alonso Morales?
Well,
Take your marks.
well, both Magda Toeters and Alonso Morales both have absolutely great shape. S14s, for those with an intellectual impairment, really affects the way that they absorb information from their coaches, and you can see that already Alonso Morales of Spain is taking this race by the scruff of the neck, Paul. Very modern breaststroke style. She's got their hands coming over the top of the water and shooting forward. Well, she's going to have an absolute shocker to lose this now, isn't she?
Well, we have seen Michelle Alonso Morales go out very strongly, and Magda Toeters come back on her in the closing stages, and it was a good turn by Magda Toeters there, bringing her up almost alongside Michelle Alonso Morales. This is what we saw last year in the European Championships, but Alonso Morales was strong enough to hold off Magda Toeters, and it does look like Magda Toeters now is going to get the better of Michelle Alonso Morales. Alonso Morales is not going to be able to come back now, and it is going to be a first major title surely to the Netherlands. It's going to be Magda Toeters coming away. She's stretching away from the rest of the field. It's going to be gold to the Netherlands. Magda Toeters will take it in 1:16.16. In second position, it was Shabalina from Russia. Michelle Alonso Morales faded to third position after leading comfortably at the turn. But Magda Toeters, well, I knew she'd be strong in that second 50, but how strong? Wow.
Well, I said Alonso Morales was going to have an absolute shocker to not win it, and wow, that's exactly what that's exactly what happened. I almost can't believe it. She got the pacing so wrong. She just went out all guns blazing and didn't have anything to bring back. She wasn't great around the wall. Magda Toeters absolutely punished her, particularly on the underwater section of the second 50, and really just swam a much more evenly paced race. Spots the finish, gets that absolutely spot on, arms at full extension to touch the wall, and there, the celebration.
Well, that's been a long time coming for Magda Toeters. She has played second fiddle to Michelle Alonso Morales at all the major championships, but this time she is on top. The new world champion is Magda Toeters from the Netherlands, Valeria Shabalina from Russia, the silver medalist, and Michelle Alonso Morales, the bronze for Spain. The men's 200 freestyle for the S3 classification. favourite for this one will be Dmytro Vinohradets from Ukraine. He may be challenged by the young Russian Alexander Makarov in lane number 5. Here they come out, Giles. It's moving down the numerical classifications down to the S3 class.
Absolutely. For those with much less motor control than we've certainly than we've seen in the S14s, who are in a physical sense able-bodied, and really disability swimming all about minimizing the effect of your disability and maximizing what you have got, and thinking creatively as well, thinking how are you going to minimize that disability, how are you going to get around it, how are you going to improve your streamlining.
Swimmers are behind the blocks now. We saw Kolyukev from Russia in line number 1, Miguel Angel Martinez Tohello in 2, Vincenzo Boni from Italy in 3, Dmytro Vinohradets. He will be the favourite for this one, the gold medalist in this event at all the major championships. Alexander Makarov, the 18-year-olds, showed some good technique this morning, especially in his turns, very swift turns for Makarov. Yannis Kostakis from Greece, the experienced man, 4 times a Paralympian for the Greek team. And there's Grant Patterson, nicknamed Scooter, not sure why. And there's lane 8, Mikael Fredriksson from Sweden. It's one of these S3 events, Giles, where we'll see a number of starting techniques employed. It's quite interesting to see the different ways that the swimmers will start this, depending on their disability.
Yeah, most will start from using a water start, and will either hang on to the block themselves, or their coach, there you can see their coach's hands coming down, will hold their feet against the timing pad. That's Makarov. Now the coach is not allowed to push them in any way. As soon as they hear the gun, all the coach can do is just let go.
Take your marks.
Mikael Fredriksson there in the outside lane, taking advantage of that start from the block. He has impairment in his legs, the bulk of his impairment in his arms here. As soon as they get into the stroke, Mikael Fredriksson struggling to stay pace with a very long reach of Dmytro Vinohradets from Ukraine. He goes immediately into an early lead. It is freestyle, of course. We see a number of the swimmers doing the front crawl stroke, but I think the bulk of the swimmers at the moment, in fact about half and half actually, doing backstroke or front crawl there. And it is Dmytro Vinohradets first to the turn. Makarov looks like he's in second position. In fact, he's not. It's Vincenzo Boni who went over in second position, but Makarov gets that very, very good turn that we saw in the heat, brings him into second place, but he's already struggling to stay pace with Vinohradets.
Yeah, Makarov is very good in rotation. Given the what he has to turn around, he's got very limited use from quite high up on his chest. He brings both arms over together. This is Vinohradets, so nice, evenly timed freestyle stroke, nice roll, and manages to keep his body position quite high. You can't quite see that through the surface of the water here. There, we can see just from our commentary position, he manages to keep his hips very, very high, and that's incredibly important in swimming because it helps minimize the drag. Here we go, round the wall, and he does that sort of nice kind of rollover. Makarov turning himself round very quickly there, and Boni, who had, in lane 3, who had built up and caught Makarov back, Well, he just lost it all around that turn and is now 3 metres behind.
Could well be first medal though for the Italians here so far. They've had a very strong squad. They built up a strong squad over the past few years, and Vincenzo Boni looking in good shape in the medal positions at the moment. Vino Radets has a clear lead, but Makarov is trying to challenge the Ukrainian now as they come into the last turn. Still pretty much clear lead of about 3 metres though, so Vino Radets should be able to hold on to this one, but Makarov is certainly not giving up the ghost here. And Vino Radets is being chased by Makarov there, with Boni in 3rd position as they go over that last turn.
Well, Vino Radets dropped his stroke turnover ever so slightly on that third 50 metres. He looks to be picking that up again. He almost giving himself a break in that 200 metres, allowing Makarov to come back, but he's very, very slightly increased it. As you see that left hand come over, it almost goes in upside down. He does quite well at flipping it back over onto its top side so he can start using it to gain leverage. And he's coming now into the final 10 metres, Paul.
It looks like it is going to be another world title to Dmytro Vino Radets of Ukraine. He comes home with a clear advantage over the second place swimmer, who will be Alexander Makarov, the 18-year-old from Russia, in for 2nd position. 6 seconds was the margin at the end there. And in 3rd place, it is going to be a medal for Italy. Vincenzo Boni from Italy in 3rd place in 3:41.96. And he is followed home by Miguel Angel Martinez Toello for the Spanish team in 2nd position. Grant Patterson in there for the Australian team in lane number 7, just ahead of Yanis Kostakis. Vino Radets, really, when he got away in those early stages though, Giles, there was really no catching the man from Ukraine.
Certainly wasn't here. Coming into the finish now. Good inverted butterfly kick. He's kind of switched his stroke during the race. Has to touch with his head, of course. A big smile there.
Now Makarov, 4th place at the European Championships. He's promoted himself to the silver medal position here. But Dmytro Vino Radets really strong at the front of the stroke there. He kept that going all the way to the end there. Very, very long and smooth stroke all the way through that 200. Vino Radets will take the gold medal and time of 3:28, which is significantly faster than he went in the heats. The results of the men's 200 metres freestyle S3, Dmytro Vino Radets from Ukraine is the world champion, ahead of silver medalist Alexander Makarov from Russia and bronze medalist Vincenzo Boni from Italy. Men's 200 freestyle for the S4 class. A great heat swim this morning from Joe Guillasson to be the fastest qualifier, ahead of the Paralympic champion Gustavo Sanchez Martinez, who goes in lane 3.
Well, this event, a bit of a changing of the guard. Richard Uribe, gold medalist in Beijing, silver medalist in London, but here in this morning's heat swim, Paul, only good enough for lane number 1.
It was relatively comfortable qualification for most of these swimmers today. Nelson Lopez there, he's in the outside lane in lane number 8. He's one of the experienced campaigners, along with this man, Richard Uribe. He goes in lane number 1. He is the world record holder in this event. Set that, you said, Giles, back in Beijing in 2008. 16 Paralympic medals to his name. Darko Duric, he had a great championships in Montreal 2 years ago. Won a couple of titles. And we won the Paralympic title. Was the Mexican, 21-year-old now, Gustavo Sanchez Martinez. And next to him, in the middle, for the two teenagers, Jo Gi-sung. What a swim he has. The Korean in lane 4, and Roman Zhadanov, the 17-year-old from Russia, in lane 5. You said it was the changing of the guard, Giles. They've got the three youngsters in the middle and the more experienced men on the outside now.
Well, and there's proof point. David Smetany, a man who was silver medalist in Beijing. And in lane number 8, Nelson Lopez. I don't think we're going to see really much from him. He's done well to make the final here, but really this race, all about those centre lanes. Roman Zhadanov, he had a superb final 50 in the heats in this race. That is lane number 1, Richard Uribe.
Can he spring a surprise from the outside lane? And Smetany do something from lane number 7. Over 20 Paralympic medals between those two experienced campaigners. Is it time for the youngsters here in Glasgow?
Take your marks.
Well, a combination of different start styles there. Now, we've just seen S3. Now, this is S4, where swimmers have slightly more movement. We saw that some started, in fact, one extra started on the blocks this time. Most started in the water, but none of the field were held by their coaches onto the touchpad, which is quite interesting. It's being taken out now in the centre lane. Looking very, very good indeed in lane number 3, Sanchez Martinez. Nice and smooth, his hand comes over. Very close with Jo Gi-sung. And he was the Korean who goes over the wall first in 39.83.
Yeah, this is what we saw this morning. Jo Gi-sung just went out pretty hard. Qualification time 3:02.11. Sanchez Martinez, a more experienced man, just as I said, just 21 years of age, and he is the reigning champion, the reigning world champion, the reigning Paralympic champion, so he won't want to be beaten by this young man from Korea. The major games that the Korean swimmer has gone before. He competed in the Asian Games last year. Doesn't really have any pedigree on the world stage, but Jo Gi-sung has got a lead at the moment in 1:23.45. That is a very, very fast 100 there for Jo Gi-sung of Korea.
Well, right there in the centre of your screen. Look at that, the head position, very, very good. He struggles when he comes to the breathing stroke, has to kind of pull his head back and lift it out of the water to really get it to clear the water. Shouldn't really have to do that. If you breathe and turn your head, it ends up in a pocket and you can pull air cleanly out of that, but it doesn't really seem to be causing him any problem. Very, very minor movement from the legs. And again, fantastically high hip position. Hits the wall, he's a bit square, but comes around nice and cleanly as he makes his way back down the pool. And you can see there, as he's breathing towards us now, and he dunks his head under, and that's part of the reason that he's doing that, is that's what's lifting his hips up. The whole body's like a seesaw. If you push your head down, it lifts your hips up. But his hand position, particularly for an S4 pool, as it enters the water, look at that, there's very little air around the front of the stroke. Hands going in the water nice and cleanly, locking in the water, allowing him to transfer that strength of the shoulders into the motion.
Well, it's certainly very, very effective. The Korean swimmer here, the world record holder, is in lane 1. The world record stands at 2:55.81. It's going to be very close. It's just outside, but it's a gold medal performance from Jo Gi-sung of Korea. He wins the Korean gold. It's Zhadanov in second position. Gustavo Sanchez Martinez paid for that early pace, but he gets in for the bronze medal. But it is 2:56.23. Jo Gi-sung. Oh yes, he told you he was going to do that in the heats. He set out his stall and he came back really strongly, just half a second outside the world record. I thought it was going to go there.
Indeed, well, it was a massive personal best for him. It really, really was.
Gustavo Martinez, the former champion, now the bronze medalist here, and there we have final swimmer coming in. It's Nelson Lopez, the only one I think swimming the backstroke in this one. Nelson Lopez, backstroke medalist in the Europeans last year, and he is the final swimmer to finish in 3:55.45. But a great performance by Jo Gi-song of Korea.
Well, he was nice and smooth in the heats. He was nice and smooth in the final. Here he is coming into the final 5 meters now. And those hands come over and they're very wide, but he manages to pull them back to a nice clean position. He breaks good body position. Shouldn't have really done that. It could have possibly shaved a bit more time if he'd have kept that head down. Kind of glided into the wall there, but he looked at the clock. And that is a very good time indeed. Very good time indeed. Sanchez Martinez not over the moon to be celebrating with him, but kind of goes along with it.
He tried to go out with Jo Gi-song. Jo Gi-song from Korea wins the world title in 2:56.23, ahead of Russia's Roman Zdanov and Mexico's Gustavo Sanchez Martinez. The men's 100 freestyle for the S11 class. Bradley Schneider was very, very close to a long-standing world record in the heats this morning.
Well, that world record is held by John Morgan of the USA and was set way back in 1986, Paul. I don't remember it, but I'm sure you do.
I remember it, Joes. I swam in those World Games in 1986, back in the black and white days. That was a great championships, that in Gothenburg in the outdoor pool. Absolutely boiling hot weather, I remember back then. John Morgan was a fantastic visually impaired swimmer who set that world record then at 56.67, and only now are the swimmers starting to challenge the times of John Morgan. This is Viktor Smirnov, a man who's been very successful in the Paralympic Games in the past. Alexander Mashchenko, his Ukrainian teammate next to him. This, of course, Giles, is the event for swimmers with no vision at all. Henry Herbst in lane number 3 for South Africa. All the swimmers wearing blacked out goggles. They're all visually impaired, but all have to wear blacked out goggles for these ones.
There he is, the man. He had a poor finish this morning, but it didn't stop him from going well. And there's Sousa. Well, he looks like a Mexican wrestler in that hat and goggles combination.
I'm sure you'll love that.
You don't really see those worn very much these days. Well, Kimura had a very poor tap this morning when he finished. There's Mikowski.
Taran Drake completes the lineup in lane number 8. All these swimmers, as I said, they're all wearing blacked out goggles, all swimmers with no vision at all. Bradley Schneider. And next to him, Matheus Sousa, with that distinctive cap and goggles. Very important to dive in this S11 final.
Take your marks.
Well, they're all away very quickly, but it's Schneider who's away the best. And so important that you come off the wall and swim squarely and don't go straight into the lane rope, but that is exactly what's happened to Matheus Sousa in lane number 5. He came out of the blocks and went straight into the lane rope. Bradley Schneider as well is also stuck on the lane rope, and Henry Herbst on the outside of him had great taps this morning. But it's Schneider, that leg kick, Paul, driving him out the wall there. That was absolutely unreal.
Well, Henry Herbst was fastest to the wall in the heats, and he was just about fastest, just behind Bradley Schneider in the final tonight. But Schneider pulled away really strongly Look at the technique from Bradley Schneider here. Can this long-standing world record be beaten at last? 1986, it looks like it's going to go. Is it? It is just outside. 56.78. He misses it by 0.1 of a second. But Bradley Schneider is the champion, the clear champion. Sousa recovered to take the silver medal position in 59.20, and it's Henry Herbs from South Africa, the bronze.
Well, it was absolutely textbook S11 swimming there from Bradley Schneider. Great off the wall. All of these blind swimmers, of course, not knowing what time they've done until someone's told them, hence why you don't see them celebrating when they get to the end of the wall.
Scared them. Oh, Bradley Schneider, I'm sure he's heard the in-venue. We saw him punch the air there. I'm sure he heard the in-venue announcers just announced that time and him as the champion. That's why he was celebrating.
Here we come onto the tap. You can see the bow in the lane rope there because he's so hard up against it. And really, the finish doesn't get any better than that. These swimmers work for hours with their tappers to make sure that they know exactly the point at which they need to feel that blow on the back of the head, which indicates, in Bradley Schneider's case, that he's got one more stroke to go. And he hits it pretty much spot on. And he can't believe it.
Of course, the result is not confirmed. The swimmers will have to get their blacked out goggles checked. They have to, the officials have to check that, and then the result will be official. But he is absolutely delighted with that, and no wonder. 0.1 of a second outside that record, which stands for another day, Giles. We're going to get to 30 years maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll have to wait for another day, as you say, Paul.
The women's 100 freestyle for the S11 class. Mary Fisher, 5 times the world champion at the Montreal World Championships 2 years ago. Can she claim her first title here?
Well, there are the S11 competitors for this women's 100 metres freestyle, being led out now by their tappers. Obviously, each swimmer has 2 tappers, one at the start-finish end and one at the turn end. All wearing blacked-out goggles, as we said before. There's Mary Fisher. She is a real force to be reckoned with. Silver medalist at the London Paralympic Games, Paul.
Well, she was one of 2 New Zealand swimmers who won 5 gold medals at the last World Championships in Montreal 2 years ago. Elizabeth Egel, well, she's another youngster, just 14 years of age, from Estonia. Tisha Martinez from the USA in lane number 2. Maya Reichard from Sweden in lane number 3. Watch out for her in the breaststroke events. She's dominated 100 breaststroke, the visually impaired class, but Mary Fisher has pretty much dominated everything else apart from the breaststroke. Maybe the distance freestyle, because that's the domain of Daniela Schulte, the experienced German, in lane number 5. Lou Guzzi, well, medalist at the Paralympics and the World Championships in 50 freestyle. Can she translate that sprint speed into the 100 freestyle here? Nunes Silva from Brazil, enjoying her introduction there. And Ikanaga from Japan in lane number 8.
I mentioned the importance of the start earlier on. Ikanaga went straight into the rope in the heat. This is Mary Fisher.
Take your marks.
Well, we can see there from the start, pretty much all of the swimmers managing to come up bang centre in the lane, but all of them seem to be heading towards the ropes now, apart from Daniela Schulte, who's swimming cleanly down the middle of the lane. But Mary Fisher doing very well. You can see the lane ropes there absorbing the waves. They bend as the force goes into them. Here comes the tap. Oh, and it's perfect from Mary Fisher. Look at that, straight over. And also good on the outside of her from Maja Rijkaard of Sweden. You said to look out for her, Paul, and she does look pretty smooth. These blind swimmers haven't got vision to obviously to be able to kind of calculate where they need to keep their head in the stroke. So it makes it quite difficult for them to hold their head still. But Mary Fisher here looking like an absolute classic freestyle swimmer.
It is a great battle for the minor medals, but there's no doubt about who's going to win this one. Mary Fisher is going to take this one again. She's going to add to her tally of world titles. She takes it. It's gold for New Zealand, gold for Mary Fisher. Daniela Schulte in lane number 5. Looks like she has got in for the silver medal. And it was Lee Guzi in lane number 6 who comes in for the bronze. But there is Mary Fisher. Well, you'll be listening to the announcers here in the stadium. She may be aware that she's won it, but I do remember in London when she won the gold medal in the 200 medley on the very last day, she had to wait till she get out of the water before her tapper could actually tell her that she had won a medal. So at the moment she may not have any idea that she's just won another gold medal.
Absolutely. Well, it was a great 50 in the end from Maja Rijkaard, who ended up finishing 4th. Here's the start underwater, and you can see all of them straight down the centre of the lane, but as soon as they get to the surface, just disappearing out of your picture there, they all head to the lane ropes. There's the tap. It's okay. It's okay at the end. She ends up with a bit of a glide, but she had enough distance on the rest of the field that it didn't matter. Having her goggles checked there, and a big smile. Another gold medal heading back to New Zealand.
I think she's just found out there. Another smile there. Excellent. Very good, Mary Fisher. Mary Fisher takes the gold medal for New Zealand. Daniela Schulte, the silver medal. And Lee Guzi from China, the bronze. The first batch of finals for this evening's session completed. We now move on to a couple of medal ceremonies. Go on through the programme. We'll be doing 2 medal ceremonies and 2 swims after that, and then catch up with the medal ceremonies at the end of the session. I was saying this morning in commentary, Giles, that New Zealand had a great World Championships with 12 gold medals in the Montreal Games, which was ahead of Brazil, ahead of America, and ahead of Australia, which they loved, the New Zealand team.
That's right, the Australians didn't have an amazing World Championships, but they've got a very strong team here indeed. We're moving on now to the victory ceremonies. Victory ceremony for the first event of these IPC World Championships here in Glasgow 2015. Sir Philip Craven, President of the International Paralympic Committee, and Jane Blaine, Chair of IPC Swimming, making these first presentations. Karev from Russia. He's the first person to be awarded a medal at these championships. Taking that bronze. And the silver medalist
as he has been in the previous 2 World Championships. It's Matthew Levy of Australia. Levy pleased to be on the medal podium. I'm sure he would have wanted a gold medal performance here. It's a decent time for Matt Levy, 102.51. The Paralympic champion, the world champion now, Pan Xiaoyun from China. Championship record 101.53. Very dominant swim there. 100 freestyle just took it away from Matt Levy in the early stages and never really surrendered the lead as they came down the final 50. Accepting their medals and the mascots, and he will enjoy the national anthem of China. There are your first medalists at these World Championships here in Glasgow. Pan Xiaoyun from China. China takes first blood there, ahead of Matt Levy and Sergei Sukarev. See on the board, back of these swimmers, Glasgow2015.com. That's where you can find us on the live stream here. Remember to tweet us. We'll try and read out some tweets if we get time, Giles.
Absolutely. You can do that via @IPC Swimming. Use the hashtag Glasgow2015.
More information, ipc-swimming.org as well. And on Facebook, you can like IPC Swimming to get the latest news. Oh, give us your tweets in, we'll try and read them out. It's been pretty thick and fast at the moment, so not sure if we've had time so far, but we should be able to catch up with ourselves here. So send something in, we'll give you a mention here on the live stream. We are live here in Tollcross Pool here in the East End of Glasgow. Second medal ceremony is just about to come on, the second medal ceremony of this batch. Courtney Jordan helping Annie Pallion there onto the medal podium. Susie Rogers, the third place swimmer there.
Medals represented by President International Paralympic Committee, Sir Philip Craven, MB.
Well, there's Sir Philip. Sir Phil Craven, great basketball player in his day.
Sport Technical Committee, Jane Keebley.
Assisted by Jane Blaine there, Phil Craven, president of IPC for a number of years now. Present his medal. It's the first home swimmer to be on the podium, Susie Rogers. And she will accept her bronze medal there from Sir Philip Craven. Look like nice medals, Giles. I haven't seen them close up. Good from this distance.
Yeah, very reflective of Glasgow, kind of sheet metal, very industrial, reflecting Glasgow's industrial heritage.
Oh, it's good thinking, Giles, well done. I'm supposed to be a local here.
thought you were from the other side.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, tell us about this Russian match.
Russian Federation,
Annie Palyan, experienced campaigner over the years, first time representing the Russian team. She did push Courtney Jordan all the way, as she has done in a number of events over the years. But Annie Palyan, very much a freestyle specialist here. Watch out for her in the 50. She may well be a challenger to Courtney Jordan in that one, and also in the longer distances too. These three ladies will all be back for the 400 freestyle, I'm sure, later in the week. Courtney Jordan. She is enjoying this tremendously. She gets a big cheer from the American fans who are out in force tonight in the crowd, and Courtney Jordan will claim first gold medal for the US team. I said at the end of a race, always very expressive. Courtney Jordan, she absolutely loves to compete, loves to win. And she accepts her gold medal and her mascot.
please show
And
your
she
respect
waits
for the
national anthem
United
of the
States
USA.
America. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for your medalists.
Seemed a bit surprised there at the end of the anthem. Didn't have the big crescendo at the end that we normally have for the Star Spangled Banner.
Well, it's photo time.
That's great stuff from the medalists here. All seem delighted with their position on the podium there. Courtney Jordan.
Well, she can't stop smiling, can she? And rightly so.
Yes.
She's world champion.
Mascots there, named after the pool here at Tollcross. Tolly. Highland cow, Highland coo.
Is that how you say it in these spots?
Yeah, it's
Highland Coo.
a Highland coo.
Well,
I'm not sure they're Scots supporters. The Netherlands fans there waiting for the next medal presentations, I'm sure. We're not going to have them at the moment though, because we're moving on to another two events. The Netherlands supporters will have to wait. The men's 50 backstroke S5, fastest from the heats was Great Britain and Glasgow's own Andrew Mullen. Next to him, the world record holder Daniel Diaz.
well, this one is set up to be a real crunch, isn't it? We've been looking forward to this one since the heats this morning. Daniel Diaz went out like a rocket, revving those arms of his. By the time he got to 40 metres, he practically just shut down, saving his energy for tonight.
Andrew Mullen, he looks like he's in the zone, the young man, who is based not far from here. He's finished off his preparations down in Manchester in recent months at the GB Performance Centre. We'll see what he can do. Lifetime best in the heats. Can he follow that up in the final? Jonas Larsson from Denmark in lane number 1. Anton Vo from Vietnam. We've never had a Vietnamese medalist at the World Championships. Can he do something special in this one? We've never had a Turkish medalist at the World Championships either. But the man next to him in lane number 3, Bataya Hiroglu. He went out fast too this morning. May see him feature in the early stages. Great rival of the man next to him, Andrew Mullen, over the years. Andrew Mullen, 4 times the European champion last year. And what support for the homeboy. Daniel Diaz, the world record holder, in lane number 5. There he is. Can he be beaten by the local man, Andrew Mullen? Zoltverikshai from Hungary. 6 times a Paralympic medalist in this event in the 50 metres backstroke, stretching back to 1992. Cameron Leslie goes in lane number 7, another one of those very successful New Zealand team. And Diego Lopez Diaz in lane number 8 from Mexico. There is the fastest qualifier into this final, Andrew Mullen from Great Britain. Daniel Diaz looking formidable in lane number 5. We see the new backstroke starting devices being employed here, Giles, enabling the swimmers who have propulsion from their feet to get off that new backstroke device. Andrew Mullen with his own version of that starting signal.
Take your marks.
Well, swimmers are allowed 15 metres underwater this morning in the heats. Andrew Mullen used pretty much all that first 15 metres. Daniel Diaz alternatively comes up straight away, and look at Diaz absolutely revving this. He is going fantastically, no interest in the hands biting in the water. It's all body position and power. Andrew Mullen's doing quite well to stay with him, but this is going to be Diaz as he comes now into the final 15 metres, Paul.
Andrew Mullen trying to stay on terms with Daniel Diaz, but the world record holder, I think he's going to take the world title again. Daniel Diaz coming home, and he's just outside the world record. It's gold for Daniel Diaz. It's silver for Andrew Mullen in a time of 37.68, and it's bronze to Turkey. It's bronze to Eroglu, and they will claim their first World Championship medal. But there was no doubt there that Daniel Diaz, we always knew he was going to be tough to beat. He set his stall out very early there, revved up, as you said, Giles. He was in his stroke very early, with the other 2 guys, Eroglu and Andrew Mullen, using their underwater power, but they just couldn't get back on terms with Daniel Diaz.
No, Andrew Mullen there looking a touch disappointed. He's gone ever so slightly slower than his heat swim this morning. I think possibly just trying just that little bit too hard, especially in these short events. Very, very easy to try too hard and to maybe just lose a little bit of technique. But Diaz, when he's swimming freestyle, he's very, very much a stroke technician. Put him on his back, he tends to throw the technique book out the wall, out the window. And you can see those hands come round, bags and bags of air being pulled down, all sorts. It's all about revs and power. And you can see there in real time, and he gets this finish absolutely spot on his good arm, the one with the single finger on the end of it. He likes to whack that in the air, doesn't he, when he wins?
He's pleased to win that one. He knew he'd be in a race there. Andrew Mullen, I think, worried him with that good heat swim. Daniel Diaz from Brazil takes the gold medal here in Glasgow with a new championship record, 35.34. The local boy, Andrew Mullen, the silver medal position, and a first World Championship medal for Turkey, Batula Eroglu with the bronze. Well, the women's 50 metres backstroke S5 is next onto pool deck. Bella Trevinova, formerly Bella Lavakova, Paralympic champion from 2004 and 2008. Something of a return to the pool. She's fastest from the heats. Giulia Giretti from Italy. Next to her, Anita Patis from France. Teresa Perales goes next to her from Spain. Teresa Perales, 22 times a Paralympic medalist. She has been behind Bella Trebinova in previous years. Bella Trebinova making a return to the pool. Can Sarah Rung from Norway cause some damage to the big two in the centre of the pool? Alicia Gialamas, she set a new America's record in the heats this morning. She'll be hoping to feature in the medals. Natalia Chavel, experienced Belarusian too. She goes in lane number 7 with Beth Northling of the Republic of South Africa in lane 8.
Teresa Perales, been around for a long time. She's been off the pace already for these championships. This is Sarah Louise Rung of Norway, a multi-eventer, very important swimmer for Norway.
Take your marks.
Well, by the time you get to S5, all the swimmers holding themselves on the blocks, using various devices to hold their hands, and it is lanes 2, 3 and 4, Fatias Perales and Trebinova, who are leading this out, and in particular Teresa Perales. Well, after the disappointing results she's had coming into this meet, suddenly finding a bit of form, Paul.
It looks like she is. She's never claimed the global title in backstroke. She is hanging on here as Bella Trebinova comes back at her, but it looks like it is going to be gold to Teresa Perales. Perales will take this one in a time of 44.61. It's Trebinova in second position, and in third position it's Sarah Rung from Norway. So the big three in the centre. Teresa Perales absolutely delighted with that one, 44.61, and that is significantly faster than she went in qualification, some 3 seconds almost faster. She was easing back obviously in the heats this morning. She was in ahead of Trebinova there. You see Trebinova, she has to settle for silver now in her comeback swim here in Glasgow, and Teresa Perales can't quite believe it. Excellent swim there.
Well, unusual to say the least, to pace of 50 in the heats. In fourth place, Gialamas, she set the American record. And there's Teresa Perales again. She doesn't quite know what to do with herself, how to get out the pool. Here's the start. These swimmers not having the flexibility in their back or the control in their back to get that backstroke arcing start. Here we go, under the water as we come into the finish. Teresa Perales, oh my word, she looks, now she could have gone even faster. Like the reason the flags are there at the end of the pool is so that the swimmers know where the wall is. You shouldn't have to look over your shoulder like that. I wonder, despite that big smile and that gold medal, I wouldn't be surprised if her coach is having a word with her later on.
You're a hard man.
I am a hard man. I'm a cruel man, but very fair.
Teresa Perales will be the world champion in the women's 50 metres backstroke. S5, Bella Trebinova the silver, and Sarah Rung from Norway the bronze. Well, there's Teresa Perales. She's still shaking her head there, Giles. I don't think she can quite believe that. I'm not sure. Is she shaking her head about her finish there, do you think?
I would expect so, yes, I would expect so, yeah. That smile seems to be falling from her face now. No, look at it, she's absolutely beaming, and it's been a long time coming for her as well.
It has been. She's been very good on the freestyle events, never quite managed to hit the top spot in the backstroke events on a global stage. She was the European champion, so maybe not quite a surprise for us to win that. The men's 100 breaststroke SP14 victory ceremony. This is one of the ones that the Dutch team have been waiting for. It's one of the ones that the Scots in the crowd have been waiting for as well. councillors from Glasgow and the president of INAS making these presentations.
Representing Great Britain, Scott Quinn.
And there is Scott Quinn. What a superb performance there for Scott Quinn. This was his event today. He was the opener for the GB team. He wanted to challenge for the gold medal. He challenged, he ended up with silver at the end of the day, but a great performance from Scott Quinn. And the world record holder Tanaka tied in that silver medal position, both at the same time, 107.99. They couldn't quite catch this man. He is a world champion again, Mark Evers from the Netherlands. And he is delighted with that performance. Mark Evers takes the congratulations of the dignitaries making those presentations. And he will enjoy the Netherlands national anthem. Mark Evers takes his second world title in 100 metres breaststroke. Follow up the win he had in Montreal. Two silver medalists this time, Tanaka and Scott Quinn.
I think I want to say to Tanaka to have a smile. Evers there, well, he absolutely dominated that breaststroke race. As they head off now into the mix zone, pick up any more interviews. And we move now on to the victory ceremony. The women's 100 metres breaststroke SB 14.
This one upset the form book a little bit. The former world record holder, Michelle Alonso Morales, finishing on this occasion behind Magda Tutors. In fact, Morales in third position, just beaten by Shabalina for the silver medal position.
Winner of the bronze medal, representing Spain, Michelle Alonso Morales.
No, she took that race out hard, Giles. Michelle Alonso Morales couldn't quite hold on in the second 50.
Absolutely. Well, she turned me over properly because I really thought that she had this race absolutely sealed. But it just goes to show, if you get the pacing wrong and then combine that with a slow rotation around the wall, well, you're going to have to pay for it down the second 50, and that's exactly what this lady did.
Shabalina from Russia winning silver medal there, coming back very strongly in the closing stages. She was some 3 seconds behind Michelle Alonso Morales at the turn. Finished ahead of her by 0.4 of a second, but neither of them could catch this young lady. Magda Tuters at last is on top of the medal podium. She's won a silver medal at the Paralympic Games. She's won a silver medal at the European Championships, silver medal at the World Championships in her own country in Eindhoven in 2010. She's now a world champion here in Glasgow. Well done to Magda. She doesn't want to leave that podium. There are all the medalists there. I don't think Magda Tuters can quite believe it. At the age of 29, she's on top of the medal podium. A good time, 1:16.16. Remember, send your tweets in to us at IPC Swimming, hashtag Glasgow 2015. Also check out the Glasgow2015.com website and the IPC-swimming.org. The men's 50 metres freestyle S13 sees the world record holder Ihar Boki in lane number 4. He will be tough to beat. Can you see anyone challenging Ihar Boki, Giles? It's going to be tough, isn't it?
Well, it's, to be honest, if it goes any other way than Ihar Boki, I will be very, very surprised. But I haven't had a very good record tonight, Paul. A little bit rusty, just warming up.
You've been surprised before.
I've been surprised before, exactly.
This is the S13 classification. All these swimmers have a visual impairment. They're partially sighted. The visual impaired classes are S11 to S13, S11 with no vision, and S12 and 13 with various degrees of partial sight. Timothy and Talfi we saw coming out for Australia. He's in lane 8. We have Stefan Smagin from Russia in lane number 1 next to his teammate Golintovsky. Lane number 2, Carlos Fahrenberg. He swam well this morning. He could challenge for the medals. Can he challenge this man, Ihar Boki? 9 gold medals at the last 2 World Championships to his name. Can he go into double figures? Yaroslav Denisenko, well, he is the reigning champion. Braden Jason, newcomer from Australia. Can he challenge for the medals? He's getting fired up, isn't he, Braden Jason? Kirill Pankov from Uzbekistan. Can we have another country on the medal-winning countries for this World Championships? Never has an Uzbekistani swimmer won a medal at the World Championships. Timothy Antalfi is in the outside lane, but in the centre lane. Pole position. It's Ihar Boki representing Belarus.
Take your marks.
Well, Boki out the blocks there like an absolute bullet out of a gun. He's underwater the longest, breathed only 3 times in the heat. And look at him go down the pool here. He's like an arrow. Hands go into the water. In fact, he's travelling so fast that his head's almost being ploughed under the water as they come into the final 5.
A 23.21 is the world record. Surely it's going to go 23.20. It has gone. The new world record for Ihar Boki from Belarus. He shaves 1/100th of a second of his own mark. It was very, very close, but he absolutely dominated that heat. Ihar Boki takes the gold medal in a new world record time. In second position, Carlos Fahrenberg from Brazil. He will get the silver, and Denisenko from Ukraine will get the bronze. But the result was never in doubt from the very start of that race.
Well, it certainly wasn't, was it? Here's the start again. And look, you can see it there. They all go very, very quickly and deep, but Boki just seems to have that extra snap on the others. And you can see as he comes down, look at the wash coming off him, because he's travelling so fast. He's travelling over 2 meters a second, gets the finish spot on, and it's not very often when you get to this level that you see someone make the rest of the field look quite ordinary.
There's Carlos Fahrenberg. He has got that silver medal. He's delighted with that one. 24.13 for Carlos Fahrenberg. He claims an America's record for the silver. Denisenko takes the bronze, but there was no catching. Ihar Boki takes the gold in a new world record time, 23.20. The women's 50 freestyle S13, Anna Krivshina and Anna Stetsenko. They were very close to each other in the qualifying heats. Could be a battle between these two, but it may be very close. Colleen Young is, I think, the youngest in this field at 17 years of age. Next to her, Joanna Mendak from Poland. Great butterfly swimmer going over the 50 freestyle today. Marta Ruther was third fastest into this final. Anna Krivshina, well, she was fastest into the final, but she will have a real challenge from this lady, Anna Stetsenko. In her first major championships, Prue Ward in lane number 6 from the Australian, 3 times a Paralympian. Rebecca Myers in lane number 7, been in great form recently. Can she challenge for the medals? And Tegan van Roosmalen from Australia, the second Australian. There is Anna Krivshina, fastest into this final, but Anna Stetsenko, she is the world record holder in the 100 freestyle, set that record very recently.
Take your
This could be a
marks.
very tight contest.
Krivshina was the best away from the blocks, and she's up and through the 15-meter mark first. Her head is absolutely solid as a rock. You could put a cup of water on the back of that, but she's not breathing. That is classic freestyle swimming. And she's taken this 50 metres by the scruff of the neck, Paul.
It is Krivshina, she leads Stetsenko into the closing stages. Stetsenko coming back, it looks like it is going to be Krivshina, but only just. Krivshina takes it from Stetsenko. It's another championship record, 27.49 for Anna Krivshina. She is delighted with that one, just 0.1 of a second outside the long-standing world record, which has stood since 1996. But there we go, Anna Krivshina will take the gold medal, Anna Stetsenko the silver, and well, we will have to wait for confirmation for the bronze, because we saw, I think, a little bit of a movement on the blocks there, and we may well be looking at a disqualification. I don't know if you saw at the start, Giles, both of us noticed it, didn't have time to mention it in commentary, but a little bit of a twitch on the block, and I think that may have been the reason for this potential disqualification.
Well, Well, if there was movement, it was very, very small indeed. In swimming, you're only allowed a one-start rule. This is the finish now. And look at that. That is absolutely wonderful. The hands piercing the surface of the water. She finishes full extension. Krivshina rolling onto her side to maximise her reach. Very, very good sprint freestyle swimming.
That's Joanna Mendak from Poland. She looks exhausted there. She will get a little bit of a boost, I think, because she has claimed the bronze medal for Poland. Anna Stetsenko, the silver from Ukraine, but a great swim from Anna Krivshina from Russia. A new championship record, just a 10th outside of the world record. She claims gold for Russia. Another batch of medal ceremonies. Dimitro Vinohradets, Ray Gordon making these presentations.
Always good to see a bit of Ray.
Disappointed he's not wearing a tie though, Giles.
I know, standards are slipping.
Yes.
Mr. Matthew Leopold from British Gas. This competition sponsored by British Gas, of course.
And the medalists here for the men's 200 freestyle S3. And it's the Italian swimmer who was very good trying to keep pace with the leading two. Vincenzo Boni, third place all the way through almost in the closing stages there. Vincenzo Boni takes the bronze medal, silver medalist. Well, it's a young man who I think may be someone that can challenge the great Dimitro Vinohradets in the years to come. He swam two excellent 200 freestyles today, just 18 years of age. Alexander Makarov. And he claims a well-deserved silver.
The winner of the gold medal and world champion representing Ukraine, Dimitro Vinohradets.
Dimitro Vinohradets will claim another world title. He has been the champion at the major championships every year since 2006. The last man to beat him was Great Britain's Kerry Cairns in this event, back in the South African World Championships in Durban. He looks satisfied with his evening's work. It's not over yet, he'll be in the relay later, but he will enjoy the anthem of Ukraine. Dimitro Vinohradets become quite accustomed to that anthem at the major championships in recent years. Ukraine team been very, very successful.
Well, they are the winners waiting to have the victory photo. Keep your tweets coming in. We've had a tweet from Craig Spence of Yorkshire, who's asked if we're wearing ties, Paul, during the medal ceremonies.
Of course, bow ties, dinner jackets, in the usual broadcasting style.
Lots and lots of tweets about Daniel Diaz, about Ihar Boki from Belarus. Keep your tweets coming in at IPC Swimming. Hashtag Glasgow 2015.
Now bring you the victory ceremony for the men's 200 metres freestyle S4 final.
Men's 200 freestyle for the S4 class.
Accompanied by head sponsorship for British Gas, Mr. Matthew
Ray Gordon and Matthew Leopold enjoying themselves there on the podium. Not as much as these three will be. Bronze medalists this time. Gustavo Sanchez Martinez. He on the medal podium again at the big championships. Not the position he was hoping for though. Wanted to defend his title from 2013. He'll be hoping to defend his Paralympic title next year in Rio. It's bronze tonight for Gustavo Sanchez Martinez.
I think Tully looks a bit more like a dinosaur than a cow.
A dinosaur? I haven't seen a dinosaur with a kilt on. Not recently. But you wouldn't really, would you? Well, Sudanov. What a great youth policy that the Russian team has. A 17-year-old. We saw an 18-year-old in the previous event on the medal podium. We've got a 17-year-old now. Roman Sudanov. First time on the medal podium for him. He was 4th place last year at the Europeans. He couldn't finish ahead of this man, no. Zhou Gaisong, the 19-year-old from Korea, and he will take the gold medal. What a dominant performance that was. He took it out very strong. Gustavo Sanchez Martinez went out with him in the early stages, but the Korean was just far too strong in the closing stages. Went away. We thought he was going to get the world record, but not quite. Doesn't matter. He takes the gold and the world title.
Ladies and gentlemen, please show your respect and applause for the medal winners. Big thank you to our medal presentation partners.
It's not an anthem we hear every day of the week here, Giles, but if this young man shows a type of form in the 200 freestyle in any of the other events, we may well be hearing it again this week at these championships.
Korea, of course, hosted the Asian Para Games in Incheon, very close to Seoul recently.
Incheon, yeah, just at the tail end of last year.
Yeah.
That was this man's big international debut at the Asian Games. A few people competing, medal winning at the Asian Games are here at the World Championships. convert those Asian Games medals into global medals. The men's 50 freestyle S10 class. The two Brazilians in the centre of the pool, Andre Brazil, Felipe Rodrigues, Nathan Steen, the Paralympic medalist from Canada, goes alongside them in lane 5.
Well, this one is shaping up to be an absolute doozy. Very, very exciting indeed. Andre Brazil practically stopped at 40 metres during the heat to save himself for tonight's final. Felipe Rodrigues, his close friend, countryman, has never, ever beaten him. Felipe Rodrigues has a shoebox full of silver medals at national level. He's never been national champion in Brazil because he's always racing his fellow countryman, Andre Brazil. Here's Kevin Paul in lane number 1, the very quick South African. David Levesque, been around for a while, Paul. Silver medalist in Athens back in 2004. Hasn't really featured since then, but this man, well, we'll just have to wait and see what he can do. Felipe Rodrigues lost a bit of weight. He's looking very, very lean in this meet. Very serious as well. He wants this race so, so badly. There's Nathan Steen of Canada. Don't know whether the twos make him go any quicker. But this man also could feature in the mix. It is so, so tight, this race. Really, the entire field, certainly in the centre lanes, separated by less than a second on paper. And Barta Sinsky of Russia, that very strong Russian team of 60, as these S10 swimmers, minimal disability, the minimal end of the disability range as they prepare for this, the 50 metres, the splash and dash.
See the marks, Felipe Rodrigues, chest and arms there, trying to get himself psyched up for this one. They are underway, the men's 50 freestyle S10.
Well, Andre Brazil with that skying freestyle stroke, difficult to see all the way through the splash, but if you could see in the yellow lanes there in the centre, but it is lane number 3, Andre Brazil, who is going to win this race and win it quite comfortably in the end. It looks like Rodrigues is going to be in second place. It is Andre Brazil.
Andre Brazil takes it 23.20, and that was very close to his best ever time, Giles. Just 0.4 of a second, 0.04 of a second outside. And Andre Brazil, well, he is delighted with that one. Rodrigues in second, and Nathan Steen in third.
Well, he's so pumped up there looking at the scoreboard. Rodrigues, well, it was a good swim from him, 23.81. But he will be disappointed with that. He really thought that this time, like on the world rankings, he has led Andre Brazil all this year. There's the start all the way together. And here's the finish, that skying style, straight arm style from Andre Brazil. Well,
that meant a lot to him. That meant a lot to Andre Brazil. Can never write him off. He has won the last 3 World Championships. Make that 4 World Championship titles in a row for Andre Brazil in the men's 50 freestyle S10. A championship record to take gold, 23.20, ahead of Rodrigues and ahead of Nathan Steen. The women's 50 freestyle S10. 3 Netherlands swimmers in the first 3 lanes here. Chantal Zedeveld goes in lane number 1. We talk about the youth, the talent that's out there. The 14-year-old Chantal Zedeveld in 1. Chantal Molenkamp in lane number 2. Summer Mortimer, champion in London, representing the Canadian team, now swimming for the Netherlands. one of her parents Dutch, one of her parents Canadian. Aurélie Rivard, the America's record holder, set that record in the heats today. Can she get in ahead of the great Sophie Pasco? 5 times a world champion at Montreal, eluding Laurenti of France. Well, she challenged Sophie Pasco in those world championships 2 years ago. Nina Ryabova, who was just behind Summer Mortimer in the European Championships last year, and Isabel Hernandez Santos in lane number 8. Well, this one could be a really tasty one too. Aurélie Rivard, fastest from the heats. Sophie Pasco, the world record holder, in lane number 5. Summer Mortimer, the Paralympic champion, in lane number 3. Who is it going to go to?
Well, just 0.91 of a second separating lanes at 1 to 7 in qualification. As these ladies make their way down the pool, that red marker is the 25-metre mark, and it is an absolutely flat field at the moment. Very, very difficult to call indeed. Perhaps Aurélie Rivard in lane number 4 has just got the lead, but also going well is Ryabova.
It's very close indeed at the finish, and it's 27.87 for Aurélie Rivard. She will take the gold medal for Canada. And what a swim by Nina Ryabova there in the outside lane, almost in lane number 7. She gets in for 27.91 for the silver, and the bronze goes to the world record holder Sophie Pasco, 28.00. But danger all over the pool. Ryabova pulled out a massive swim there.
It was a fantastic swim. The European record, as you said, for Ryabova. Rivard really started to just make a move on the field as they came into that final 20 metres. Sophie Pasco, well, she's going to be wondering what happened. She's leaving with the bronze, but she finished in 28 flat. Here's the start. All away very quickly, as we said earlier on, Paul. This from qualification, just less than a second separating all of these. And amazing from Ryabova.
There's the winner, Aurélie Rivard from Canada. The 19-year-old takes the world title, 27.87, just a tenth of a second outside the world record. Nina Ryabova, a new European record, in second position, and Sophie Pasco in third for New Zealand. Medal presentation for the 100 freestyle. Graham Edmonds, former teammate of yours, Giles. Graham Edmonds making these presentations along with Phil Reid.
Winner of the bronze medal, representing South Africa, Henry Herbst.
Well, Henry Herbst obviously put in a lot of work with his tapping team, because they have done him proud here at these World Championships. Got that tap on the back of the head, perfect at the turn and again at the finish, and that put him into a great lane for the final, for enable him to win the bronze medal here.
Winner of the silver medal, representing Brazil, Matheus Sousa.
Matheus Sousa with that cap and goggles combo that served him extremely well in this race. The swimmers, as we said, all wear blacked out goggles. If your goggles come off during the race, that's it, you're disqualified. So his combination there, having the goggles built into the cap, that works for him. Certainly does. Silver medal, great swim from the Brazilian team, looking very good for next year.
Well, here's the winner, And he was absolutely sensational. Set a championship record of 56.78. Bradley Snyder of the USA. And well, he really swam a very, very good race indeed, Paul. It wasn't perfect. S11 races rarely are, because sooner or later they usually end up on the lane rope.
Ladies and gentlemen,
It costs some time. It's really about minimising the amount of time that happens, but great start, great taps, great finish.
Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for your men winners.
Another gold medal for the US team. The medalists just being instructed what to do. Of course, these swimmers with no vision at all. They're Highland cow mascots. It's definitely a cow, James.
Are you sure it's not a dinosaur?
Well,
You can tweet us if you use the
a
hashtag
debate.
Glasgow 2015. You can vote on whether you think that the mascot looks more like a cow or more like a dinosaur, and we'll poll the results at the end of the night.
you're all over that Twitter, aren't you?
I'm loving it.
Yeah. Nice picture of Aurélie Rivard.
Thank you, guys.
We'll see her collect her medal very shortly. Great performance there in that last race in the 50 freestyle. In the 100 freestyle S11, the next medal ceremony.
The victory ceremony for the women's 100 metres freestyle S11 final.
There is Mary Fisher in the centre of those three, wearing the number 1.
Winner of the bronze medal, representing the People's Republic of China, Li Yuxi.
Lu Guji, we'll see her in the 50 freestyle too, better known as a sprint specialist here, but good medal in the 100 freestyle. I think she'll be satisfied with that one. She was up very close to the leader at the halfway stage.
Winner of the
Just
silver
was overtaken in the closing stages of that 100 by Daniela Schulte of Germany, who takes the silver medal. Been on great form in recent weeks in the distance events. Watch out for her. We'll move on to the 400s later in the week. Daniela Schulte will take the silver. But it looks like the young lady
winner of the gold medal and world
in
champion
the gold medal position.
representing New Zealand, Mary Fisher.
It's going to be tough to beat this week. Another good performance from Mary Fisher. 22-year-old gold medal winner in London in 2012. 5 gold medals at the World Championships in 2013. Could this be the first of many here this week? Great swim from Mary Fisher, New Zealand.
Well, there we see the final victory photo. Mary Fisher winning the gold medal for New Zealand. Daniela Scholter of Germany.
Well, the men's 100 butterfly S8, the finalists on their way to pool deck. Denis Tarasov and Charles Rozoy, they could be the main contenders for this one. They go in lanes 4 and 5 respectively.
Well, Tarasov went through the heats quickest, but it's Rozoy who is world ranked fastest this year, Paul. Tarasov looked imperious, didn't he, in the heats? He really did.
Well,
Rozoy looked a little bit harder work for him. Certainly, for me, it's going to be about the middle two lanes.
it's tough to see past them, I think. They are the two that are the class of the field. We had Luis Armando Andre Guillen in lane number 3. Swimmer in the Paralympic Games in 2012. Can he get on the medal podium from Mexico? Evgeny Zimin, good chance for him. And the 18-year-old Robert Griswold from the USA in lane number 7. Very close out with the top 2. Of course, this is your event, Giles. And something you know better off, a champion in this event back in '96 and so in 2000. So we'll see the one-arm butterfly stroke being employed there, something that you pretty much pioneered back in the day.
certainly back in the day, but looking down these times, I've been made to look very ordinary indeed against this field. There's Charles Rozoy. You can see one arm much thicker than the other. He's going to swim with one arm. Evgeny Zimin, well, we'll see what he can do here. He's a sort of unknown quantity in lane number 6. He has been quicker this year than he went through the heats. Mortensen of Denmark in lane 8. Might be a stretch for him to get into the medals, but you never know.
Qualification, oh, very close outside the top 2. This could be a battle between Tarasov and Rozoy in 4 and 5. Bronze medal up for grabs for
Take your
anyone.
marks.
Well, Tarasov and Rozoy both away together, but it's Tarasov who's up first, and you'd expect to see that because Charles Rozoy, with that one-arm power, he's got much better kick with his legs. That's what's balancing it out, and that's what's giving him that much better underwater section, which he is capitalising on. But it looks to be Tarasov who's just moving in front now as they go into the turn. Will Rozoy be able to pull it back again with the underwater section? It looks to me like he does, and moves in front of Tarasov, Paul.
Yeah, Tarasov was certainly first to the turn there. He had a decent lead of about half a second, and Tarasov now trying to pull away from Rozoy here. It looks like Charles Rozoy is going to have to settle for a minor medal again at the World Championships, but Tarasov is looking strong in the closing stages. Is he going to get the world record standing at 1 minute point? He's not quite, but he claims the gold. Denis Tarasov gets in 101.05, with Charles Rozoy in second, 102.63. And it is the Mexican Andre Guillen who takes the bronze medal in a very good 103.92.
Well, it was a great race from Denis Tarasov. I think as he looks back at the clock there, I think he really wanted that world record. Quite a pensive look on his face. There's Charles Rozoy, and he doesn't look happy at all. I have to say, his technique kind of folded as he was coming into the second 50 metres. His hand, well, barely legal for a butterfly swimming, if I'm honest. His hand almost piercing the water as if it was a freestyle stroke. You're not allowed to do that. Here's the start again. And this butterfly stroke, all about the power swapping between the arms and the legs, as the legs really filling in the gaps left by the arms. And there we go, he finished on full extension, and he has enough time to turn around and see the opposition finish. He doesn't often get that opportunity against Charles Rezoy of France.
It was a clear win for Denis Tarasov from Russia. He is the world champion, ahead of Charles Rezoy from France and Luis Armando Andre Guillen, with an America's record to take the bronze. The women's 100 butterfly S8 is about to go. Katerina Istomin is the fastest entry time in lane number 4. But here is Morgan Bird from Canada. Someone who was at the Commonwealth Games last year, Morgan Bird. Amelie Winter, medalist for the Danish team at the European Championships last year. Madison Elliott, the 16-year-old Commonwealth champion in 100 freestyle here last year. Katerina Istomin, we'll see her swimming the one-arm butterfly too. But the great champion, Jessica Long, can anyone beat her? 23 World Championship medals to her name over the years. Jiang Chenang from China is next to Ksenia Sogomonian from Russia. And Rico Bro completes the lineup in lane number 8 for the USA, the 18-year-old. Jessica Long, I think, is going to be very, very tough to beat. She has all the major titles in recent years, unbeaten since the Paralympic Games in Beijing in 2008. Jessica Long, but she may well be challenged by Katerina Istomin. Long, with a double leg amputee, is not going to get off the blocks as fast as the guys with 2 legs there, and Istomin using that start to good advantage.
Yeah, well, Jessica Long's trademark style, his hands really coming over like claws, and going well there in lane number 4. Katerina Istomin swimming with one arm, but this is where Jessica Long is going to start to capitalise. She's not going to be great at pushing off the wall. She goes straight onto the power of the arms, up very, very quickly, and really Katerina Istomin should have been making more of that. Going well also on the outside of her is Madison Elliott. She's had a bumpy ride, moved to an S9, now back in S8. But Jessica Long being given a good run for her money here by Katerina Istomin.
Istomin is holding on in the closing stages here. The world record holder injured at these championships, Steph Slater, but Jessica Long now really being pushed by Istomin. It's very close indeed, and Jessica Long gets it by 0.2 of a second from Katerina Istomin. And what a time there for Jessica Long, 109.79. She equals the time that she did in Canada 2 years ago. It's second position for Katerina Istomin, but my goodness, she will never get closer to Jessica Long than she did there. It was very, very tight indeed.
Well, Katerina Istomin really should have made more from the turn. She should have utilised the fact that she's got the advantage with the leg kick over Jessica Long. Maybe she can go away and think about that. But Jessica Long looked at the scoreboard, and with the absence of Great Britain's Steph Slater, the world record holder, I think she felt that maybe it just wasn't good enough. When you've won as many gold medals as she has, Paul, sometimes the medal itself isn't good enough. It's got to be about the time as well. Here's the turn and the finish, and you can just see Istomin starting to tie up. She's breathing in those final 5 meters. She should have been head down. All these little mistakes, they all add up, and you can see there as Jess Long slaps the water. She wanted more than just the gold medal from this race.
A little bit of frustration there from Jessica Long. We do have an unofficial result there. Looks like we do have a disqualification appearing on the graphics. It's not an official result, but the way they finished. Jessica Long equalled the championship record in 109.79. Istamina in the silver medal position in 110.05, and Madison Elliott in the bronze medal position in an oceanic record 114.20. She'll bring you the official result when we have it. We'll bring you any changes, certainly, if it does change from that graphic that we have just shown you. A couple more medal ceremonies to enjoy, and this is one that the home crowd will certainly enjoy, because the homeboy Andrew Mullen is on the medal podium in his first event here at the World Championships in Glasgow. David Sparks from British Swimming presents with Agnes Sheilak from IPC Swimming. A real good result for the team from Turkey. Never won a medal at the World Championships before. This will be their first medal at the IPC World Champs. And it goes to Petula Eroglu in a time of 40.27. Did go out very fast. He had the good speed under the water at the start of that race, as did Andrew Mullen. And Andrew Mullen, the local lad, he's well supported here. Big Andrew Mullen contingent in the crowd here. His mum and dad are there, his family. 37.68 in the final, new European record in the heats in qualification. Gold medalist on this occasion. Very good time, 35.34 it was. Daniel Diaz was a championship record, just 0.3 of a second outside his own world record mark that he set back in London in 2012. Daniel Diaz racks up another World Championship gold medal for himself and for Brazil. Daniel Diaz, there's another World Championship medal. He'll be back later tonight in the relay. More than likely the anchorman in that Brazilian relay team, who are the world record holders in the relay that will see the last event tonight.
Well, he really is an ambassador for the sport. Always got a big smile on his face, as we see there. And, well, he is definitely set to be a superstar for next year. Next, the victory ceremony of the women's 50 backstroke S5. Well, this one was a bit of a shock to me, not to Paul. Rarely shaken in the statistics sphere is Mr. Noble.
Of the bronze medal, representing Norway, Sarah Rung.
Sarah Wrong, she'll have big events to come later in the week. This is arguably her weakest event. She'll be pleased to be on the medal podium in this one. Great Norwegian star. She'll be delighted with that one. Trevenova, silver medalist, but there's Sarah Wrong from Norway.
The winner of the silver medal, representing Czech Republic, Bela Trevenova.
Bela Trevenova back on the medal podium again after being absent for a few years now. The Paralympic champion 2004, 2008 under the name of Bela Lavakova. Back into the pool again in her favourite event here for the 50 backstroke, but young lady Teresa Perales, what a great smile from Teresa Perales here. She couldn't quite believe it, could she, Giles, when she finished that race, shaking her head in disbelief almost as she walked, pushed around the poolside.
Yeah, big smiles. There are a few little mistakes in that race as well. I think there's extra time for her, but she has, what a fantastic swimming career she's had.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Get ready for the national anthem of Spain.
Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for your medal winners, and thank you to our medal presentation party.
Great stuff from Teresa Perales. You had anything on the Twitter?
Lots and lots of tweets coming in. Use the hashtag Glasgow 2015. We'll try and keep across them. Lots and lots of tweets about Daniel Diaz. If you want to tweet me personally, you can. At Giles Long or Paul Noble. Paul Noble 8, number 8. That's right, isn't it?
That's correct, Giles.
And also use at IPC Swimming, and we will try and keep across them as we are watching these fantastic World Championship pictures. There's the victory photo of the women's 50 metres backstroke. S5, Teresa Perales, Bela Trevenova and Sarah Louise Rung of Norway. Well, they actually moved off the medal podium before they had that photo taken. I think they then got called back to have it done.
The men's 100 backstroke S9, James Crisp from Great Britain, fastest into the final. Brendan Hall from Australia was close behind in lane number 5.
Well, this one is one that I've been looking forward to all night. James Crisp in the centre lane. He looked lovely and balanced this morning in the heats, but there were all sorts of great swimming going in across the pool. Brendan Hall there, the big Australian, well, he looks like he means business. For a one-legged S9 swimmer, he is very, very good off the backstroke start. The turn let him down this morning. If he can polish that up a bit, he could be causing a lot of trouble to James Crisp.
You've got to see those backstroke start devices there on the blocks, and that's got to help the guys that are using with the one leg. It stops your legs actually slipping there on the wall, so Brendan Hall will probably benefit from that. Of course, you don't have to use them. You do get the choice to use these devices there. We'll see if any of the swimmers employ them. James Crisp, well, a medalist at the World Championships every year since 1998. 6 World Championships under his belt now. There's Brendan Hall. He is adjusting that device there, so he's certainly going to employ that one. Vincetic from Croatia in lane number 6. He may feature in the medals. Cody Bureau in lane number 7 is in for the USA team, and Jesse Reynolds from New Zealand, another one of the strong New Zealand team. Just adjusting that new device, Giles. It's kind of a little bit of a step under the waterline, and it's got to be an advantage of the guys that just have use of one leg, you know, when you go into the backstroke. With just pushing off the wall with one leg, there's nowhere to go if your leg slips or your foot slips. So a number of them employing this new device, which has got to help. James Crisp, Brendan Hall in the centre, Patrick Biscup, and Christian Vincetic.
Take your marks.
Well, Crisp is up first, but look at the start over in lane number 7, sorry, from Cody Bureau of the USA, but it's the centre lanes now starting to move through as expected. Also going well in the outside, Tamas Toth. He eased back almost possibly too much in the heats this morning. He could cause some big trouble over there in the outside of the pool, but it looks like he's going to be James Crisp who's going to hit the wall first. It is, and he's round very quickly, but traditionally James Crisp not great underwater, manages to maintain the lead though, and his head is looking very still indeed, and he's got a good roll, but he's been put under severe pressure from Tamas Toth over in lane number 1, Paul.
He is, and Tamas Toth is looking pretty good there. And James Crisp trying to hold off the challenges from Brendan Hall and Patrick Biscup. He's coming back on Tamas Toth, but Brendan Hall is coming back. It's an absolute blanket finish between 3 swimmers, and it goes to Brendan Hall in 105.01. Crisp in second, 105.12, and Tamas Toth in third position, 105.24. It was all very, very close at the end of that race, but Brendan Hall takes it for Australia.
Well, it was a good race from Brendan Hall. James Crisp can't quite believe it. If he'd have gone the time that he went in the heats this morning, 104.43, he would have won it comfortably. He would have won it comfortably, but that is the way it goes. You have to be able to do it in the final if it's going to count to put you on the podium. Here's the start. James Crisp up very quickly. Next to him, Brendan Hall, but right on the outside there in lane number 1 was Tamas Toth, the Hungarian. He eased back in the heats almost too much to the point where he didn't actually make the final. But Brendan Hall really arching his back there to reach for the finish. And well, just 11 100ths of a second in it. Very, very tight race indeed.
The women's 100 backstroke S9, Ellie Cole from Australia set a new world record time in the heats this morning. Emily Gray for South Africa goes in lane 1. Hannah Aston, the USA, in lane number 2. Nuria Marquez Soto from Spain in lane number 3. Ellie Cole, what a sensational world record that was, 108.89. And Tully Kearney, the young Great Britain swimmer, in lane number 5. Elizabeth Smith, the bronze medalist at the last World Championships in Montreal, goes in 6. Sofia Konkolki from Hungary, the 13-year-old, in lane number 7. And Valeria Kukanova in lane number 8 for Russia.
Well, Ellie Cole this morning, when she set that world record, she looked up at the scoreboard. Well, what she actually said, we're not allowed to say live on air because she was so shocked at how quickly she'd swum. She really made the rest of the field look quite ordinary, Paul.
The record was held for many years by Stephanie Dixon, I think back to the 90s, by Stephanie Dixon in one form or another. It now belongs to Ellie Cole,
Take your marks.
who swims there, the yellow cap of Australia, in line number 4.
Well, using almost the full 15 underwater, Elizabeth Smith there of the USA in lane number 6. Expect the rest of the field to start coming back on her, especially Ellie Cole. Ellie Cole, a lovely fluid rolling motion she's got on the backstroke there. She had an operation on her shoulder and lost a bit of flexibility, but you wouldn't know it to look at her. She's over very well indeed, and good underwater. It's good streamlining from Cole. Tully Kearney from Great Britain also going well. And Smith better underwater again, but this is all about Ellie Cole in the centre lane, Paul. Look at that, you could put a glass of water right on her forehead and you're not going to spill a drop.
This is fantastic from Ellie Cole from Australia. She set the world record in the heats. Can she better that again in the final? A great contest for silver between Mariah Marquez Soto and Tully Kearney, but there's no doubt about who's going to take it. It's going to be Ellie Cole, and it's another new world record for Ellie Cole in 108.67. She's improved the time she set this morning. Tully Kearney gets in for the silver in 1:10.52, and just ahead of Nuria Marquez Soto, 1:10.68 from Spain. But there is the champion, the new world record holder, Ellie Cole from Australia.
Well, when you're hot, and she is absolutely sizzling at the moment. It was a good swim also from Tully Kearney to take the silver medal in this race. She went 1:10.52. I think she'll be pleased with that. Marquez Soto of Spain took the bronze medal, 1:10.68. But Ellie Cole, I mean, if you want to know how to swim backstroke, copy what Ellie Cole does, because that's what it says in the textbook. She's not great here. She gets overtaken by Smith of the USA. Good on the turn, rolls over and rolls into the tumble, all in one fluid motion, and then forms a good streamlined position as she kicks away off the wall before she breaks through the surface of the water there and straight into the arm stroke. The Australian is absolutely spot on with this backstroke swimming. Here's the finish. She doesn't look over her shoulder, he said, as she then puts in a massive reach for the wall. It's a good stretch, but she times it absolutely perfectly. And well, she got a taper right, Paul.
Ellie Cole, the second world record of the day for the Australian. She is the world champion, ahead of Tully Kearney and Nuria Marquez Soto. Medalists already on the podium for the men's S13 50 metres freestyle.
Accompanied by chairperson IPC Swimming Sport Technical Committee, Jane Deebley.
Jane Blaine,
The winner of the bronze medal,
presenting
representing the Ukraine, Miroslav
the
Denisenko.
medals. Miroslav Denisenko, time 24.23. It was all very close for the minor medals. Denisenko, his class, of course, swimmers with visual impairment, the S13 class.
Winner of the silver medal, representing Brazil, Carlos
Fahrenberg. Well, he was very delighted. We saw him after the race, swimming his lifetime best, an America's record, 24.13 for Carlos Fahrenberg of Brazil.
Winner of the gold medal.
But they were all in the wake of the big man in first position, Ihar Boki of Belarus. 9 gold medals before these championships began in World Championships. They make that number 10 for Ihar Boki in a world record time of 23.20. just 1/100th faster than his own time that he set at the European Championships last year. E.R. Boki wins gold for Belarus.
Of Belarus. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for your medal winner.
E.R. Boki, another world record to his name. I've got some tweets, Giles, about the Highland cow dinosaur debate.
Far away.
I think it's a Highland cow all the way. From
No,
people that are tweeting me, I'm sorry.
I've got hundreds of tweets here saying it's a dinosaur.
What?
No, sorry, that's a blatant fabrication. I haven't got a single one. I think we'll have to say it's a cow.
The women's 50 metres freestyle S13 final.
Women's S13 medalists on their way to the podium.
Winner of the bronze medal, representing Poland, Joanna Menda.
Here's Joanna Mendak from Poland. .39 for Polish swimmer. Real dominant swimmer in the 100 butterfly event. I'm sure she'll be going in that event later in the week. Joanna Mendak on the podium already in this
Winner
50
of the
freestyle.
silver medal, representing Ukraine, Anna Stetsenko.
Anna Stetsenko, newcomer really to Paralympic swimming, but she has started with a vengeance. World record swims in the 100 freestyle and the 400 freestyle earlier this year. Silver medal here in her first event at these
Winner
World
of the
Championships.
gold medal and world champion,
Quite get ahead
representing the Russian Federation,
of the Russian swimmer
Krivshina.
Anna Krivshina. A championship record 27.49. That is edging ever closer to the world record held by Yvonne Hopp, which was set back in Atlanta in 1996. So maybe another one of these long-standing records that may well go in the very near future.
Ladies and gentlemen, please show your respect to the national anthem, Russian Federation. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for your medal winners and thank you to our medal presentation partner.
Anna Krivshina. Was very successful last year at the European Championships. She started this championships very well. I think Stetsenko will perform very well in the distance freestyle events. She'll be starting as favourites. Mendak, of course, will have the butterfly to come later in the week.
Well, Eastern Bloc swimming very strong indeed. This brings us on to the next race, the men's 400 metres freestyle S6. And well, this one is going to be very tight. In the middle lanes, Glock, McDonald, Granichka and Bocciado. All very close indeed. Very much a tactical race, Paul. As the swimmers come out the tunnel there.
We had two good heats this morning, two close contests at the front of those two heats. Darren McDonald and Andrei Granichka, they kind of paced each other through. And similar situation for Taliesin Glock and Francesco Bocciado. Nelson Crispin, medalist in the last World Championships for Colombia. Vyacheslav Lenski from Russia. He's in lane number 2. Taliesin Glock, well, can he do something from lane number 3? Certainly going to be there or thereabouts at the medals. Darren McDonald, the Paralympic champion from Ireland. And he was pushed all the way by Andrei Granichka this morning in the heats. Andrei Granichka, I think maybe had a little bit left. You may see him strong in the closing stages. Francesco Bocciado, well, he's top of the world rankings this year. Regan Wickens in lane number 7 from Australia. Hamish McLean from New Zealand. He goes in lane number 8. Well, Giles, I think we're going to be in for quite a close contest here. Those middle 4 lanes, not much to choose between them. Bocciado has got the fastest time this year, but the international event pedigree is really Darren McDonald from Ireland in lane number 4. Granichka, well, a bit of an unknown quantity, the 18-year-old from Russia.
Well, a mixed combination of starting styles there. Expect to see them start to even out as the race goes on. McDonald of Ireland, I thought, had to work pretty hard for his lane 4 position during the heats. Tends to really have one pace, starts and finishes in a very, very even style. I thought that Glock in lane 3 swam a very strategic race in the heats indeed. And on paper, Bocciado of Italy, well, he is the fastest in the world this year by some considerable distance. On 27th of June, went 5:01, some 12 seconds quicker than the next quickest man in the world.
It's not that long ago.
It's not that long ago at all. But the field pretty flat at the moment. Darren McDonald maybe just edging ahead with Granichka going with him. And it is lane 6 who does well. Bocciado does very well around the wall. Got quite a twitchy style, Paul. That's a result of the kind of disability that he's got, but his hips are very, very high indeed. And well, maybe that world ranking time that he posted earlier in the year, this is where we're going to see the class of this man begin to pay out.
Yeah, he certainly looks in good shape at the moment. Bocciado has opened up big lead. He was actually second at the 100 mark, but as he moves into that second 100, he's opened up a gap of some 2 seconds, and that's quite a gap ahead of Granichka. This event, of course, was dominated by the Swede Anders Olsson for many years. Anders Olsson, of course, retired after the Paralympic Games in London in 2012, and Darren McDonald finished ahead of the Swede on that occasion.
Shock win, I think it was.
It was indeed. We all thought Anders Olsson was going to take that, but Darren McDonald took Ireland's first gold medal at the Paralympics since Dave Malone won in Sydney in 2000.
Well, the field is starting to spread out now. Darren McDonald looks as if well, unless things change, he's going to be scrapping it out for bronze. But this is the leader, Francesco Bocciardo of Italy. And you can see the lead that he's opening up there. Part of the success that he's having in this freestyle is down to his body position. He keeps his hips very high, and what that means is that his body's in a flatter line. It means that he's creating far less drag, which means that the power that is being generated by his arms is much more of it is being used to push him forward. If you look at when we get a wider shot, if you look at some of the other swimmers, they tend to spend a bit more time going up and down rather than going forward. Each of those movements all costs time. As he comes now to the 300-meter mark.
We have seen, of course, the Italians have a number of swimmers who are very, very good technically. Ariola Trimi, I remember last year, absolutely rock solid on the freestyle. So I just wonder if Bocciardo's from the same coaching stable as Ariola Trimi. They have gone through the 300 mark, and Bocciardo is opening up a very big advantage. I'm not sure if anyone is going to be able to challenge him on the last 100. Granička maybe is the most likely, and Darren McDonald ahead of Taliesin Glock holding on to bronze medal position. But Bocciardo looking supreme at the moment, Giles.
He is. Granička has managed to claw back a bit of ground against him. Granička also got a good body position, hands go into the water nice and cleanly. He rolls over now, and it's very smooth around the wall, but it's Bocciardo, even with that slightly stuttering stroke that he's got, because the hands go into the water nice and cleanly, it's helping him to maintain this lead. But they're coming back on him now, Paul.
They are indeed, they're coming back, and especially Andrej Granička, the long-time leader. Bocciardo is holding on now. Is it going to be enough now for the Italians to hold on here in the last 5? Granička coming up alongside Bocciardo. What a finish here. It is going to go to, it's going to go to Bocciardo. He's taken it by 2/100ths of a second. It's gold to Italy. What a comeback from Granička. 2/100ths he missed out by. He takes the silver, and Darren McDonald will take the bronze for Ireland. But what a finish for Granička. We thought that Bocciardo had it absolutely in the bag, but my goodness, where did Granička come from?
Well, he sat back, didn't he? Conserving his energy, making sure that that body position, which we talked so much about, well, I don't know during the race, because I think he was breathing, looking to our side of the pool, away from Granička. I don't think he quite realised perhaps how close that came. But well, Granička, another 5 metres, he would have had him.
Well, another metre he would have had him, another half a metre. McDonald wins an Irish medal again. Again, he's on the medal podium. And we're pleased, the Irish supporters here. And Bocciardo there's the finish. Granička finishing so much stronger. Bocciardo holding on. Oh, you just couldn't split them. You couldn't split them there.
Couldn't split them. Here it is in super slow motion. Well, Granička's head position was much better, as we saw with Ellie Cole in the backstroke. Having a still head position in swimming, so important. But in the end, Bocciardo, well, he got away with it. I don't know if he'll get away with it again next year.
Bocciardo takes the gold for Italy by 2/100ths of a second, with Granička and McDonald. The women's 400 freestyle S6. Ellie Simmons goes in lane 4, and Yelizaveta Mareshko in lane 5 for Ukraine. Yala Tufik from Egypt in lane number 1, and Emanuela Romano from Italy, another Italian swimmer in lane number 2. Viana Trejo Delgadillo in lane number 3. She'll be hoping to hit the medal podium, but Ellie Simmons has dominated this event since the Beijing Paralympic Games. But here is Yelizaveta Mareshko big challenger to Ellie Simmonds. They had a great battle in the Europeans last year, renewing their rivalry here in Glasgow. Valeria Lopez Gomez in 6. Nicole Turner, the youngster from Ireland, just 13 years of age, the youngest member of the Irish team, and the experienced Doromitzi Gonzalez. Back again, the Paralympic champion from Athens in 2004. Now, Giles, this promises to be a cracker.
Well, it certainly does. If Ellie Simmonds is on form and in the mood, the world record could be in trouble.
Take your marks.
Well, Ellie Simmonds away very quickly there. If this race is as good as the paint job she's done on her toenails, then it could be quite special indeed. But already sticking right with her is Mereshko. Now, this normally happens in a freestyle race with Ellie Simmonds, where her technique and fitness start to pay dividends in the back end of the race. But Mereshko, I wonder if her coach has said to her, stick to Ellie Simmonds like glue and see what you can come back with. They're both pretty much evenly matched as they go around the turn. For those with dwarfism like Ellie Simmonds, the water has to go around a series of curves. It's got to go around your head, your shoulders, your hips, your knees, your ankles, and finally around your toes. And you push those corners closer together as you would do if someone was shorter. Those corners become tighter. That pushes your drag up and means that you have to generate more efficiency by keeping a better body position. But Mereshko here is doing very well against Ellie Simmonds, Paul. She's looking very smooth indeed. She doesn't look in trouble at all.
Now, she has the European title at 50 and 100 freestyle, and Ellie Simmonds now breathing away from Mereshko. I just wonder if sometimes swimmers will breathe to both sides. They will be aware of each other as they come down here. Very still head position from Mereshko here. She looks very good indeed, as does Ellie Simmonds. These two are very, very well matched indeed. Mereshko, that head really, really still. She's breathing towards Ellie Simmonds there, keeping the head down. And Ellie Simmonds with that blue cap there, breathing away from Mereshko. But as they turn here at the top end, it's very, very close. And Ellie Simmonds, good turn from Ellie. She'll be breathing towards Mereshko here. And a good advantage gained by Ellie Simmonds there on that turn.
Absolutely. Mereshko, just a little bit of tiredness creeping in as they have the different turning styles. Ellie Simmonds employing a classic tumble turn style. Mereshko much more of what we would call in swimming a basket turn. If you imagine you're laying on your back or with your bum sitting in a basket and you spin round, that's how she's getting round the wall. But a bit of tiredness there meant that she didn't rotate as quickly. And this, I think, Paul, will be where we start to see Ellie Simmonds take a hold on this race. And we are, look at that, she's opened up a body length lead now. Well, 2 body lengths lead. No, a body length lead over Mereshko.
Mereshko just looking a little bit choppier than she's done here as they move into the second half of this race. She is closing up again on Ellie Simmonds, but Mereshko just using all her strength to get back on terms with Ellie Simmonds, and maybe that will eat into Ellie Simmonds' lead at this stage, but she might pay for that in the later stages of the race.
Well, this turn is going to be absolutely crucial, because if Mereshko can get her act together and not lose ground against Ellie Simmonds, she's done pretty good job there, well, then she could be a real challenger for Ellie Simmonds on this.
Well, Ellie Simmonds just for that advantage, she has gained that from the turn. Mereshko fighting all the time to get back on level terms with Simmonds. It is a really well-matched race between these two. Ellie Simmonds breathing in the direction of Mereshko here as they come down to the finish end. They will have 100 metres to go as they hit this wall. We'll just check on the pace here. Ellie Simmons almost exactly on world record pace. She goes over just 6/100ths in it. In fact, Mereshko getting that touch as she stretches for the wall there with her hand, and she chases Simmons again.
Well, I don't know if it's a pacing strategy, but Mereshko definitely, when she heads down to the turn end, pulls back against Ellie Simmons and is moving on to terms with Ellie Simmons now and has overtaken her, Paul. Wow, if her fitness is up to what, well, she's showing us it could be, then Ellie Simmons could be in real trouble here. This turn is going to be absolutely critical as to who goes into the final 50 first, and it's Mereshko by a whisker. Ellie Simmons is in a real fight here. The Paralympic gold medalist has going to absolutely dig in tooth and claw if she wants to retain her title.
And they come down now to the 25-metre markers. You will see the red markers there. That's 25 metres to go. It's the orange cap of Mereshko. It is Ellie Simmons with the blue cap. Mereshko just for the edge as they come into the final stages now. What has Ellie Simmons got left? She's fighting back, but it's going to be too late. The title is going to go to Mereshko, and Mereshko will take it in a time of 5:21.76. Ellie Simmons just 0.8 of a second behind in second position. It was a really close battle between the two. Mereshko taking the title, and the bronze medalist coming in now is Triejo Del Guillo from Mexico, and they came in for the Mexicans a bronze medal position, 5:46. A great battle for fourth position. Lane 6, it's going to be, I think it's Lopez from Mexico who's going to get fourth position as well, ahead of Nicole Turner. But what a titanic battle at the front of the field, Giles. It's Mereshko against Simmons. We knew it would be, and it went to Mereshko.
Well, oh my, I literally don't know what to say. I thought that Ellie Simmons would have that race. We saw it was tight between her and Mereshko. Look, you can see the look on her face. She cannot believe what has just happened. Mereshko, we saw them race last year at the European Championships in Eindhoven. It was close then. Mereshko came unstuck, really out of a fitness issue. She's obviously gone away and fixed that. And this is where Mereshko starts to turn the screw on Ellie Simmons. This is as they come into the final turn. And Mereshko, you have to say, her turns were a bit erratic. There was some where she held against Ellie Simmons. There was some that she did better than Ellie Simmons. Her finish wasn't great in the end. She finished on the half stretch, not on the full stretch. But there we are. And it wasn't as if Ellie Simmons was massively off the boil as well, Paul.
Mereshko takes the world title, 5:21.76, ahead of Ellie Simmons in silver medal position, and Triejo Del Guillo from Mexico in third. There are the medalists for the men's 50 freestyle in the S10 classification. Talked about titanic battles, head-to-head rivalries. These two Brazilian guys at the top of the medal podium.
Winner of the bronze medal.
Great friends, great rivals. Nathan Steen from Canada. Paralympic medalist, Paralympic silver medalist from London. Back on the podium again at the big championships. He was here with the Canadian team here at Tollcross earlier this year. Looks delighted to be on that medal podium. It was a really tight race, wasn't it? Felipe Rodriguez, well, silver medal for Felipe Rodriguez. He will be disappointed, I think. He wanted to win that gold medal.
Yeah, another silver for Felipe, but it sets it up for a fantastic 50 metres freestyle next year at the Rio 2016 Paralympic Games. There's still the 100 to come, of course, where he has another opportunity to beat his long-standing rival, Andre Brazil. But he looks in very good shape, doesn't he, Andre? It has to be said.
He looks in fantastic shape with that time of 23.20, just 4 100s outside his own world record time that he set in London when he won the Paralympic title. He has dominated the global event since 2006, since he burst onto the scene. It is a 4th World Championship gold for Andre Brazil. Go to Brazil. Andre Brazil. Silver to Rodriguez. And the bronze to Nathan Steen. Great performances from these guys, 2 Brazilian friends. Still got other events to come, of course. They'll team up too for the Brazilian freestyle relay. We will be forced to be reckoned with in the relays later on this week. Also, we've got relays to look forward to very shortly.
Ladies and gentlemen, now bring you the victory ceremony for the women's 50 metres freestyle S10 final.
We've seen some great contests, Giles, tonight. Some great battles. This one too was superb, wasn't it? The women's 50 freestyle for the S10 class.
Whilst these Paralympic classes really just starting to flatten out now. I think if you'd have looked back 20 years ago, maybe you would have seen much more sort of single dominance from a single swimmer. And now, you know, Sophie Pascoe, you know, she's won so many gold medals, world championships. Here she is, she turns in an amazing time, gets the bronze. She will, of course, have loads more events coming on in the week. Here's the big smiles for the silver medal.
Ryabova, he almost pulled off a big shot there from lane 7. European silver medalist, she's now the world silver medalist.
Winner of the gold medal.
Couldn't quite catch the young lady. The broadest smile across her face, Aurélie Rivard, young 19-year-old from Canada. Back here in the pool where she won a medal at the Commonwealth Games last year. She was the strongest in the closing stages, 27.87. Personal best time for her, an America's record, and just 0.1 outside the world record. But a great swim, Aurélie Rivard from Canada.
Attention party.
Great stuff from the medalists here. Marley Rivard will be going to follow up this performance up with our events to come later this week. You should see all these ladies taking part. Later are these championships. We're only on day one, Giles. We'll have 6 more to go after this one. You're speechless already.
I'm full of anticipation, Paul. Sitting next to you, commentating is more than I can take. Next up, the mixed 4x50 freestyle relay, 20 points. These teams composing of 4 swimmers, 2 male, 2 female. And they have to not equal more than 20 points. Now, the points are taken from the classifications. So, for instance, a classic team spread would be if you could make a 4-swimmer team filled of S5s. 4 5s are 20, but you could have any combination that you want. But definitely the even spread teams tend to do better in Paralympic swimming relays, don't they, Paul?
They do indeed. There is only one team that has the even spread of all 5s there, and that is the Brazilian team, and they are the world record holders. We saw, here's the Australians here: Grant Patterson, Tanya Hubner, Ahmed Kelly, Tiffany Thomas-Kane. 2 male, 2 female. It's mixed freestyle relay. Clodoaldo Silva, Joanna Silva, Rodriguez and Daniel Diaz. That's a strong Brazilian team. Italian team, they could feature it when the medals are handed out, but a very strong Ukrainian team also.
Well, I think the Ukrainians are almost certainly going to take the lead out, but that's because they start with an S8 swimmer in Bohdan Herenko. They then switch to an S3, Olga Swiderska, but Swiderska is a fantastic S3 swimmer. They then go to Mareshko, who we just saw in the S6 400 freestyle before finishing on Vino Radec. Well, he's also the gold medalist from tonight as well. So they very, very strong.
They were strong. They were the fastest qualifiers, just ahead of Russia. There's been a few changes to the teams from this morning's heats. You're allowed to do that between the heats and finals. So we'll see how this one pans out. It's going to be all over the place in the early stages, Giles. We've got differences with men and women swimming on different legs. We have got different classes. It's all about the best combination that the teams feel they can get the best time out of their teams. Sometimes teams go out, they get clear water at the front of the field. Other teams like to come from behind in the later stages. So, as I said, the lead should change about quite significantly as we progress through this. I would say Ukraine, Russia, Spain and Brazil may well be the main contenders for this one.
Well, Ukraine and Russia almost identically upside down in the tactics that they're employing. The Ukrainians going out heavy first of all, and then hoping not to be caught by using lower point swimmers later on, whereas the Russians are letting the lead get away from them and then looking to claw that back against the Ukrainians as the race wears on. Now we've switched over onto the second leg now. In the lead, lane number 4, Olga Swiderska of the Ukraine, and you can see that she is being caught by Silva of Brazil over in lane number 2. Now, these relays, so important about the changeovers. We should have spoken about the first one, but they made it down to 50 so quickly. We'll talk you through the second one. Obviously, the swimmer that's about to enter the water cannot go before the swimmer coming in has hit the wall. It's an okay changeover from Brazil. Ukraine are off. And also in between them, Italy, not bad on their changeover at all, Paul Noble.
Yeah, Marishko, fresh from that win in the 400. She is going past and she's taking Ukraine into the lead now. It's all about damage limitation at the moment for Brazil. They've got the lower class swimmer and Rodriguez there, and Rodriguez is being caught by Emmanuel Romano as well. So Ukraine, they will go into the lead in the last leg. Will they have enough to beat Vino Radets, the S3? I'm not sure if he's going to be able to hold off the challenge from Daniel Diaz on this one.
But just out of shot, Daniel Diaz is in the water and he is up and running and going like a train. Look at this as he claws back now the S5 swimmer with those 2 extra points over the Ukrainians, and he is overhauling them in style.
It does look like Daniel Diaz is going to get this one comfortably for Brazil. They are the world record holders. The time, 2:33.23, and Daniel Diaz is bringing the team from Brazil home. We'll keep an eye on the clock. It is in, and it is in 2:29.80. The first team under the 2 minutes 30 second mark. A great swim, 4 seconds faster than the world record that they set last year in Pasadena in the USA. Second position, it looks like it did go to Ukraine, and third position was the fast finishing Russian team. Great battle for the minor places here as they come into the finish, but it is no doubt about the winners. The team from Brazil will take that one, and we finish the night on a world record swim.
Well, the country that are hosting the Paralympic Games next year have won the first team event of this World Championships. And well, we've talked about how an even point spread was so important in these relays. Brazil, the only country able of fielding a flat S5 team, and they used it to absolutely devastating effect. I mean, to be honest, if you can rely on Daniel Diaz to bring you home, as long as you can get him into the water with enough time, he's never going to let you down. Well, this is the finish, and that high revving arm stroke of Daniel Diaz. Brazil very, very safe on the changeovers, but sometimes better to be safe than to get to the end of these races and find out you've been disqualified.
Taking the acclaim of the Brazil supporters, little pocket of Brazil supporters in the crowd there waving the flags. Brazil take the mixed 4x50 freestyle relay, 2:29.80, a new world record time ahead of Ukraine and the Russian Federation in the bronze medal position. Well, that was a cracker, Giles. We thought that when the Ukrainians took that lead there on the third leg, we thought it may be a little bit difficult for them to come back, but they just did not have enough lead at the end to hold off Daniel Diaz.
Well, the difference in speed between an S5 swimmer and an S4 swimmer is quite considerable. It jumps up quite a lot, doesn't it? And particularly if you can put male S5 swimmers in your team, that's going to really, really help to balance that relay team, but also to capitalize. In these relays, you're really trying to, as you said earlier, Paul, it's all about damage limitation for your lower point swimmers, trying to make sure that they don't lose that much ground, but then claw it back with your higher point swimmers.
Yeah, that's the trick there. That's what all these teams are trying to do, trying to find themselves a fast combination to compete in these relays. We'll see more relays at these championships to come. We will finish the evening off with some medal presentations here. Revenge Giles, the 100 metres butterfly in the S8 class. Another good contest that we saw there between the leading two. I thought that Charles Rozoy may well have posed a big threat to Tarasov, but as it was, Tarasov just stretched away from the Frenchman in the closing stages.
Well, Sue Prasad there, head of IPC technical. We also saw Andrew Parsons, Vice President of the IPC. Has British parents, actually lived all of his life in Brazil.
Winner of the bronze medal.
As the medalists receive their just rewards for a fantastic S8 100 meters butterfly race. This race has moved on enormously in the last 15 years. The world record has absolutely tumbled time and time again. Luis Armando receives his bronze medal. Charles Rezoy of France, disappointed not to win the gold. He didn't look on best form. He didn't have that, stroke wasn't quite flowing as we've seen him at the London Paralympic Games, at European Championships last year. In Montreal in 2013, had a very smooth style, but here it just didn't have that sort of workmanlike feel that perhaps we're used to with Charles Rezoy. But this man, however, Denis Tarasov, well, he looks imperious in the heats, has a very slow stroke turnover, but makes every single stroke count, gets a massive distance per stroke as he moves down the pool. And this is him collecting his gold medal.
Russian Federation. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for your medal winners.
Well done to the medalists there for the men's 100 butterfly S8. Something of a surprise, bronze medalist maybe, but I think the bronze medal would be up for grabs. Who could make the biggest improvement there to force himself onto the medal podium? The big two gold and silver medalists fighting it out for the title there. The young Mexican, just 20 years of age. Luis Armando Andrade Guillen taking that bronze medal. Another good contest we saw in the S8 100 butterfly. Jessica Long adding another medal to her big collection of World Championship and Paralympic Games medals.
Well, there's Madison Elliott, always got a smile. Very, very talented Australian swimmer. I think we're going to be seeing her for years to come, Paul. She was excellent at the Commonwealth Games last year in this pool. And here she is collecting a bronze in the 100 butterfly. She's had a bit of a bumpy start to these championships. Swimmers can be reclassified. The classification system is always up for review. Earlier in the day she was bumped up to an S9. Then they changed their minds and moved her back to an S8, and I bet that pleased her no end.
Stamina had a good swim. They're challenging Jessica Long for much of that 100 butterfly. She has actually featured in the major championships in the last couple of years, never quite managed to get on the top of the medal podium. Silver again for Istamina, behind this young lady Jessica Long, who's dominated the event since the Beijing Paralympic Games of 2008, but she wasn't happy with that swim, was she, Joe?
She wasn't. She wasn't. Even though she equaled the championship record, she has owned this event for, well, best part of 10 years, and she knows that everyone around her is catching her up, and there are people out there who aren't at these championships who are actually quicker than she is. But she'll appreciate this playing of the national anthem, I'm sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for your medal winners.
Jessica Long looking at bit confused at what to do on the top of the medal podium. Should be used to it by now, Jess. Just looking at Jessica Long's record here. World Championships. First World Championships back in 2006. And a number of medals to her name. Those ones. The 100 backstroke for men
Now bringing the victory ceremony for the men's
in the S9 classification.
S9 final.
What a final this was. What a close contest it was here at the finish. Just 0.23 of a second separating the top three swimmers here. Tamás Tóth from Hungary was in the outside lane. Almost didn't make the final. He was one of the pre-race favourites for a medal, and he led for much of that second 50 there on the 100 backstroke. Just faded a bit at the end, but held on for the bronze medal position.
Representing Great Britain, James Crisp.
James Crisp wanted to get another world title to add to the ones that he won back in 98 and 2002, but it wasn't to be tonight for James Crisp. That time of 105.12, he'll be disappointed with the silver medal.
Well, it was a good time for James, but he will know in his heart of hearts that if he'd have swum the time that he swam in the heats, he would be standing in the middle of the medal podium. But he isn't. It's this man, Brendan Hall of Australia. Was good at the start, managed to sort out that problem that he had around the turn in the heats, and got the finish spot on, which made all the difference in the race, which was very, very tight indeed. Tighter perhaps than we thought it was going to be.
Ladies and gentlemen, please show your respect for the national anthem of Australia. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for your medal winner.
Brendan Hall waving to his team, who are on the opposite end of the pool, 50 odd metres away from him. There they are. They've had a decent day today, the Aussie team.
They have. It's a real resurgent Australian team. I think we're seeing, Paul, they've had some big name retirements recently. Matt Cowdrey, perhaps the biggest of all, but it really doesn't seem to have phased them. Well, from one Australian to another. Well, the woman of the hour, perhaps.
Yeah, she's extremely good today, Ellie Cole. Definitely the class of this day one. This young lady from Spain is an emerging talent, definitely. Saw her on the medal podium at the European Championships last year. She is now on the World Championship podium. That time of 1:10.68. Excellent swim, an excellent improvement on her time to claim that bronze medal position. Maria Marquez Soto claim the bronze for Spain. Silver medalist for the home country tonight, Tully Kearney. Another good time from Tully, 1:10.52, 0.1 ahead of Marquez Soto. Tully Kearney has been on excellent form leading into these championships. Best events probably still to come. The individual medley, she's very strong in the individual medley. That's one that she'll be targeting later in the week. But a silver to start off with for Tully Kearney. I think she'll be very pleased with that one. Nothing she could do about the gold medal position though. Ellie Cole, another world record tonight to follow that world record that she set in the heats. 1:08.67 is the new world record time for the new world champion Ellie Cole. The Australian contingent loving that. Swimmer, as we said during the race, has had shoulder surgery, double shoulder surgery actually, on both shoulders. She didn't think she would be flexible enough to swim as fast as she could have done on the 100 back, but she's proved to be wrong. She has smashed the world record and won the gold medal for Australia.
Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for your medal winners.
I think they're limiting the anthems tonight. I think it's about 45 seconds or something. They're limiting the anthems, roughly that. So
Yeah, no, it's
clipping
very,
the end of the Advanced Australia Fair there.
Yeah, it's very much intro, verse, chorus. We're not bothering with the bridge, chorus,
Right.
verse, middle eight, big, all that nonsense. Athletes celebrating on our screens there, and really a terrific sporting camaraderie, Paul, that we always see at para sport. Steely faces when they're in the tunnel waiting to come out, but when the race is over, win, lose or draw, there's always a smile, handshake and a hug for fellow competitors, and it's really great to see.
And we saw the Australian team, great camaraderie with them, just leaving the arena now. They've had a good day, the Aussies. I'm sure we're going to see the Irish fans for this one, bedecked in the green suits. Ellen Keane's parents must be somewhere here in the arena. You can't miss them. Oh, there they are. An Irish medal. The Irish will be happy tonight. Darren McDonald, maybe not the colour that he would have wanted. Bronze medal for the Paralympic champion, but he is on the medal podium. And one of the great races tonight that we saw, Andrei Kronichka, pretty much a newcomer to these big championships. Kronichka really showed his strength in the closing stages there. He was a long way down ahead of the, well, arguably the pre-race favourite Bocciado from Italy, but came back like an absolute train in the closing stages and missed out on the gold medal by just 2 100ths. And this was a man that was able to hold that advantage, Francesco Bocciado. He is delighted with that one. And we'll hear the Italian national anthem. I like the Italian national anthem there. He looks excited, relieved, happy. First major international title for Francesco Bocciado, representing Italy.
Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for your medal winners.
So the first Irish medal of the championships, the first Italian gold of these championships.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now bring you the victory ceremony for the women's 400 metres freestyle S6 final. The winner of the bronze medal, representing Mexico, Gianni Delgadillo.
Well, medal being held proudly up there
Winner of the
by
silver
Delgadillo of
representing Great Britain,
Mexico,
Ellie
Simmons. Well, an emotional day for her. It's been the first time for a long, long time that she hasn't stood in the gold medal position on the medal podium for the 400 metres freestyle. Gracious enough to smile though and accept the medal. But you can see in her eyes that she knows the amount of work that she has got to do if she's going to win this race at the Paralympic Games next year. Holds the silver medal up and manages a smile, but the race was won masterfully by this young lady from the Ukraine, and Twitter has been going absolutely wild for this result because it has been such a shock. Merezhko of the Ukraine has beaten Ellie Simmons in the 400 metres freestyle S6 in a new championship record in a time of 5:21.76. Well, I wonder if she'll sleep at all tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for your medal.
Well, a delighted Miladzeva Merezhko. And she is on the top of the podium on the 400 freestyle. Ellie Simmons in the silver medal position. Diana Trejo Degadillo, the bronze medalist. What a battle that was, Giles, though. It was one of the races of the night, certainly. We've seen some close contests, but these 400 freestyles, it was a real head-to-head battle, wasn't it? They were just side by side all the way, and in the end, it's Merezhko that was the stronger.
It was. We've seen some fantastic swimming through the night. The men's S9 100 backstroke, the women's S10 50 freestyle, the men's S10 50 freestyle, the men's S13 50 freestyle, the women's S13 50 freestyle.
You can just go through all the events now. It's been a fantastic night of action.
Ladies and gentlemen,
We have one final medal ceremony. It's the final relay presentation. Merezhko back on the medal podium again. She just wheeled off it. She's back on again. This time the silver medal position for the Ukrainian team. The relays, always very exciting way to finish an evening. We have got more relays to enjoy later on at these championships. And the Brazilian team, what a way to finish the first day with a world record swim there. Everything a little bit spread out in this relay as we thought it would have been, as it is, as a combination of classes, and in this one a combination of men and women. And it was the fast finishers at the end who claimed the bronze medal position, coming from a long way back, and it was the team from the Russian Federation who took that bronze medal position. Alexander Mustafayev on the lead-off leg. That's Annie Palyan. She went on the final leg. Marina Ivatova, she went on the second leg. Two women on the second and fourth leg. And there is Roman Zahdanov. Another medal for that young man tonight. The Ukrainian team in silver medal position. That's the Russians in the bronze medal position. They almost caught the Ukrainian team at the end there. Not quite. And it's bronze medal position for the Russian Federation. Well, the Ukrainian team, they had a bit of a lead going into that final leg, but the combination of classes was always going to be tough to stay ahead of the Brazilians, but they gave it a good go. The Ukrainians have had 2 good relay swims today.
Difficult to see how they could have restructured their team to fend off the Brazilians. Well, second medal of the night. We've only just seen her on the medal podium. Mareshka and Vino Radets. Big strength in depth for the Ukrainian team. But the Brazilians struggling to contain themselves. They can't wait to get hold of their gold medals. Well, believe it or not, Daniel Diaz isn't actually very tall, but he's towering over his teammates.
He's fairly tall, isn't he?
The winners of the gold medal and world champions.
Not as big as the big visually impaired sprinters. But Daniel Diaz ushering his teammates forward there. He anchored the team very well indeed. The 4 Brazilian swimmers, Joana Maria Silva, Stefani Rodrigues, Andrew Parsons enjoying this one. The Brazilian presenting the gold medals to the Brazil team. Clodoaldo Silva, Daniel Diaz, the anchor man, bringing them home to win the gold medal and a world record time. Massive world record, 4 seconds.
Ladies and gentlemen, please show your respect for the national anthem of Brazil. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for your medal winners, and thank you to our medal presentation party.
Well, another gold medal for the Brazilian team tonight, Giles. Make that 3 in all. I think that's most of any team. So they will top the medal table, I think, after day 1 of competition. Daniel Diaz, Andre Brazil and the relay team. On that, Daniel Diaz now 2 gold medals to his name already. Looking in great shape. Well, that is the final action for tonight. What great swimming we saw. We saw world records, and we'll be back tomorrow for more. Join us at 10 o'clock local time tomorrow.